Welcome along the herd to the start of the Drivers' Championship on the road to the Esports World Cup. We've already seen 3 intense rounds of the Team Championship in ESL R1 online competition. Now it's all about our Zebras fending for themselves and trying to lock themselves in for the Esports World Cup. So glad you joined us here for round 1 at Hockenheim. Arjuna Kankipati here as ever with the big boss Florian Haasper to talk you through all of the action. Florian, you've just come from a fun weekend at Vallelunga watching the BS+COMPETITION BMW M4 GT3 in the hands of Fildeners get a podium in the Italian GT Endurance Championship. How excited are you to be back in the sim racing world and here at the virtual Hockenheim?
Hey Arjuna, hey guys, nice to be back, and here I am back, and briefly we saw Ferris. I'm not Ferris, so look a bit different. Yeah, you name it. We were in Vallelunga last weekend, and it was it was crazy. I mean, we had quite a few drivers with us. I think 8 BS competition drivers were there to support Phil Deness when he was doing his first endurance race in Italian GT. He already did a few sprint races. He won one of them, and he's driving a Lambo there. So we are proud of this, but now it was time to make the move to BMW and to Ceccato Racing. And it went perfectly well, I would say. A 3rd place on a track that was not really suited for the car, and but this experience, to have the guys there, to have Phil there, Phil's dad, and Phil is wearing the Zebra suit with such pride, and this is so important. Not that you have a real-world driver who says, okay, maybe I want to hide my sim racing background, but he's all in, and so we as a team were really proud. Had a magnificent weekend there.
It was fun to watch along from the sidelines, and the picture of the Zebras on the starting grid in front of the car, which was on the front row as well. I can only imagine what the paddock thought about the virtual revolution coming to them. Let's talk though about Drivers' Championship, because the last 3 rounds that we had were all about Team Championship, right? And the seeding for the Esports World Cup slightly different when we come to the Drivers' Championship, because there is, well, a little bit of an incentive here. The top 9 drivers get automatically sent through to the Esports World Cup. Drivers who finish 10th through 21st get a second chance. 22nd and below get eliminated. So Florian, the pressure in a lot of ways is piled onto the drivers in these next 3 rounds.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a different ball game compared to the Team Championship, because everyone was pretty relaxed and sort of laid back, and we took the positive results, as a motivation, and it's all good. But now it's a bit tougher for the drivers themselves. I mean, we all will go to Riyadh, so there's not everything on the line that you have to stay at home or something. But if you want to have your say in the Driver Championship, then you really have to perform now and over the next two rounds as well. So pressure is definitely higher. On the other hand, we as a team, we look pretty much at the Team Championship. So this is our core field. Also, to be honest, the prize money is much higher than just in the Drivers' Championship. But the drivers themselves obviously want to do well and want to show that they can make it into this, let's say, first half of the standings, which then gets them at least into the second chance thing. To finish in the top 9 after the 3 rounds is a big task. Yeah, there's so many good guys out there and fast drivers, so you also need a bit of a good luck during the races. But let's see. I think we have what it takes to make it, but we need the luck to make it, and so round 1 now will be quite crucial to see how we get out of the blocks.
And after this, we're off to Road Atlanta and to Spa-Francorchamps. So slightly different tracks for the drivers to challenge themselves with. There's, again, just a look at the graphic that was put out on social media to walk the viewers through this road to the Esports World Cup in the Drivers' Championship. Top 9 locked in. Everyone else has a little bit more to worry about. So getting through to the final today may be slightly important. And we're not far away from qualifying. And we know the pressure in these one-lap qualifying performances. It's Ferris Stanley that will go out in the first knockout race, Caique Oliveira in knockout race 2, Robbie Stapleford in the 3rd of the knockout races, and Ibraheem Khan to finish up in the 4th and final knockout race. Florian, let's talk a little bit about the fact that, like you said, the focus was on the team championship, but we saw the pace increase and the luck in some ways increase as well towards the latter rounds. And so, you know, I'm sure from that perspective, the drivers have got some momentum on their side, looking to carry that forward here into round one of Drivers' Championship action.
Yeah, definitely. I think the direction in which we were moving in this team championship was really great. Last round we had 3 drivers in the semis, then Caique went through into the final. So this is all really good. And to be honest, Ferris also had the ultimate pace to make it maybe even into the final. But this is the thing in ESL R1. You say, oh, maybe he could have done it, and practically you have to execute it. And so he was devastated last time that he couldn't convert the pace and had this slowdown in qualifying, but I think, yeah, it will be interesting to watch him now and to see if he gets it together this time. He really deserves it, puts in so much effort, and yeah, obviously we also try to keep the drivers entertained here in Munich. So we went to an Ed Sheeran concert, then there is this European football soccer championships, yeah, where we watched the game together, or the German games, so they're all like, you know, they have to cheer for Germany. But yeah, now it's crunch time and back to work. Yeah, and here we see him already.
End of practice, by the way, as the drivers end the session and get ready to go for qualifying. It sounds like I'm glad I'm not over in Germany for this month, because we'd have some arguments about whether the English or the German football team was the best one. I don't think I really have much footing to stand on that one, but I'll make my case, and we'll have the argument nonetheless. Let's talk as well about the fact that you mentioned, you know, Caique and Ferris racing from the office. I think the one thing that's been great for us to see, Florian, is, you know, they get the support from you guys as well. It's a real fun atmosphere for them, and that's really what you're trying to do for them, bringing them away from home to compete in this competition and making sure that they feel very, very comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for Caique, it's a special week because his girlfriend arrived from Sao Paulo. So this was part of the deal that we made. We said, okay, to make you feel as comfortable as you can, we will, give this chance to your girlfriend to move her first trip abroad. And so we picked her up at the airport. So, I mean, sometimes I think we run this here as a big family business, but this is something very important to us, that we treat the drivers as good and as nicely as we can, and to really give them a good feeling for their stay here, because I mean, sim racing is such a big sacrifice. Yeah, you have 2 months away from home, and then you're in a foreign country. You have to deal with the not funny Germans and all that. But the 2 guys are really coping well. Then we have Ibra, who actually joined us in Vallelunga, so he also, you know, had a bit of a fun weekend, and poor Robbie. I mean, he's just driving maybe now that he's allowed to. But we are trying everything that everyone feels really, really at ease with himself, and then hoping that this is the way to get the most out of the guys for the racing sessions.
I always talk about how you need to feel comfortable with your sim racing team. It's these little things that make a difference. On board with Ferris Stanley as he runs out on track for qualifying. I think only Charlie Collins and Dominic Blyer. So Porsche Kawanda and the Mercedes AMG of Blyer have rolled out onto track so far. So standing up onto the brakes in through turn 2, sweep your momentum out through this left-hander that then guides you through the parabolica and down towards the heaviest braking zone of the track, and the place on track where, well, let's be honest, we're maybe going to expect the most chaos, down into this very, very tight and hairpin with a heavy braking zone that leads into it. Lots of opportunities to try and send it to the inside. Ferris, very, very tidy though, hits that apex, rolls his speed pretty nicely. It's been a tidy opening sector so far. Now just this middle sector to go. It's a very flat track, let's not forget as well. It's been through its fair share of changes, has this Hockenheim ring. This layout a lot shorter than what used to see the drivers run off into the forest back in the day. Very flat even in this infield section, but the little bits of camber that you do have, got to be very, very careful with them. Stanley out to the outside of the track and using the runoff that you're permitted, and then up to the wall on entry to Mobile 1. You'll see drivers flirt with that wall so often, and this is where I was talking about camber playing its part in through a corner where Sebastian Vettel has proven just how slippery it can be, how easy it is to go off wide. And don't forget there's drag strip off on the left-hand side through the penultimate couple of corners here. So all going through the mind of the driver as they navigate their way around a qualifying lap. I've already seen Collins and Bly are split by around 0.2 of a second. Ferris a little bit disappointed with himself, not far behind Charlie Collins by any means, but you can always tell how much Ferris wants to be the fastest. Yeah,
but I think there's a bit of a smile at least there. So I think it's a step forward.
Yeah, I was trying to read the time, but I was struggling. Here we go. Super replay at least will give us the reaction once again, which I'm never going to complain about that one. But I think time is updated on my 7,000ths of a second. So, you know, he's at least smiling because he wasn't that far off of Charlie Collins, and I get the feeling those are going to be some pretty respectable times. Marcel Chinchik, Jamie Fluke, Sebastian Job next to come. I mean, the reality of every one of these knockout races, Florian, is qualify well. It means you've beaten some of the best in sim racing.
No, absolutely. And the first step is, and this is what we learned last time and also a couple of times last season, is to get your qualifying lap together no matter what. So if there's a slowdown or something, then you can go home, or stay in the office or whatever. But this looks, I think, really good. And now we see, okay, no, Marcel is quicker. But, I mean, again, what is it, 15,000ths of a second? So the lap was good. I think this could take Ferris somewhere where he wants to be, let's say top 6, but yeah, quite a few strong guys in there that are still to come.
Very, very fine margins, that is for sure. It's I'm just trying to figure out, is anyone potentially going to get a slowdown here? Where would you maybe get that? We've seen that across of qualifying sessions. Jamie Fluke next to the top of the board. He's around, I think that's a half a 1/10 of a second quicker than Ferris. Sebastian Job in a BMW, so now a bit of a benchmark against Ferris to see where that qualifying time stacks up. We talked about the new haircut for Sebi last time we went racing. Let's see if it powers him back towards the front as he pirouettes the BMW out of the final corner. Had to straighten up the steering there as the rear end rotated around on him. We cut away at the line, and he goes quicker than Jamie Fluke. So Ferris now in 5th, and with a handful more cars to go, it's going to be a difficult place to try and make your way forward, but we'll see how and where he's going to be able to make his moves, Florian.
Yeah, maybe I was too quick again, like saying, okay, this could be top 6, but yeah, let's see. I mean, Jamie's lap was definitely really good. Sebastian, for sure, always a pole candidate, so this is not surprising, but now let's see what the other guys can do. I think that the Virtus Pro driver got a slowdown, actually.
Yes, no, he did indeed. Lost about a second, so that's it. It's sometimes hard to tell, so we're trying to figure out from looking at the lap times. Here comes Tuomas Tattila in the Audi, so with the top 6 drivers covered by, well, under 0.2 of a second as ever. Blink and you'll make a mistake in qualifying that sees you drop out of the top 6 that move forward to semi-finals. Where does Tattila go? Up to 2nd. So Ferris now officially in 6th and on the bubble.
Yeah, now we are moving backwards, but still I haven't given up hope.
So Joni Tormala, Matt Emery, Will Chadwick, who's stepping in the FaZe Clan machine, and then Yuri Kastorp, the next 4 drivers to run. Florian, if you ever get the call up as team manager, Nathan Tague and Will Chadwick have already done it. You'll be the 3rd team manager to compete in ESL R1.
Yeah, but we need a Mazda class then, you know. It's this is the only car I ever drove, and yeah, ultra quick, obviously, but as long as I don't have this machine underneath, then I won't compete.
Okay, that's the call out to ESL R1. If you want Florian and if you want a team manager's class in ESL R1, Just need the Mazda MX-5. There you go. Matt Emery in the Guild Audi next. We've seen the Audis be relatively quick. Emery, though, behind Joni Tormula, who is also behind Dominic Blythe. So Ferris still is technically in the top 6 with 2 more to come, Chadwick and Kastrup. And maybe that's where the wry smile from Ferris was born from. The knowledge that he could have gone faster, yes, but the 37.120 that he did set might still have been good enough to hold on to that top 6 position. You can see how much Will Chadwick is leaning himself through the final couple of corners. Is that going to help him improve his speed? He's talking on his way to the line. Don't think that was necessarily where he wanted to be. He's down in 10th, so just Yuri Kastrup to come, and also in a BMW. So the worst that Ferris will line up now, Florian, is down in 7th.
And this is very positive. Yeah, I mean, P7 is a position where you can fight. We've seen that our drivers regularly, manage to fight their way up. So P6, P7, P5, whatever. This is a good place to be. I mean, being in P3 is better, and then you're out of trouble. But also beating Yuri is also positive for us. So let's see. P6 is a very good starting position.
Exactly what we want to see is a Zebra inside of the top 6, and now having to hold on to that in the racing that comes ahead. There is Tuomas Tattila in the Audi. There is Jamie Fluke in the Mercedes. There is good old Ferris, big smile on his face. Well, Chadwick's got the smile as well. Now, great to see all the drivers on that official broadcast, and well, we'll look forward to following along with Ferris in particular when we go racing in just a few moments' time. But you mentioned the weekend at Vallelunga. I think we got some pictures to walk through as well. Let's show the one that shows the Zebra standing alongside, well, his steed for the race. Florian, what a shot.
Absolutely. To be honest, we brought in good content creators to, let's say, capture these moments for us. So there are multiple stunning shots of the car, also out on track, but also for this still shoot that we did on the track. And you can also see Phil's teammates, Stefano Comandini and Francesco Guerra. Great squad, Ceccato Racing. Roberto Ravaglia is the team manager, and I've known Roberto for, I don't know, 20 years. We've done so many races together, me as the PR guy for BMW at that time, and such a great reception we got. And I mean, it is a big step for them as an Italian team in this series to open up for the fancy esports sim racing stuff, but they did it. Roberto wore our jersey. We handed out our BS+ pins to the mechanics, and then we got this good result. So it's really that this team memorizes this activation or this stunt or this partnership, if you want, as a success story, and this is what we want. The same happened with Turner, who share these feelings. So we now have Turner in North America, our big friends over there, and now Ceccato in Italy. And to be honest, the food in Italy is better than at Sebring, but let's see what comes next. And I mean, we have international real-world drivers also in Asia, so maybe we finish the story with several more continents to tick the boxes for it.
Sounds like the Zebra's got some places to go. Elliot Roberts has managed now to get his logo onto multiple different cars. He's very happy about it. I think they managed to get it the right way around this time as well, which will be even happier for him. Safety car ending on screen, so ready to go racing. And it's a rolling start, not a standing start. We get myself and Florian off the screen. Full focus on Ferris Stanley on the left-hand side of the grid, inside of the top 6, which you'll see him move forward to semi-final number 1, just waiting for the drop of the green flag. Off and away we go, and already, Yuri Kastrup squeezing up the inside in that Maus BMW. Ferris going to be pushed out wide. He can do that a couple of times. Don't want to run off the track too many and risk a cut course penalty. But here into turn 2, tentative on the brakes. Dominic Blythe behind in the Mercedes, holds station for the time being. It's now just run that speed, run that momentum down to the hairpin, and see who's going to be last of the late breakers.
Yeah, this is a good fight. Hopefully clean.
I'm nervous right now.
Yeah. Now we got maybe the side draft, late braking from Yuri. This is enough for him.
Dominic's there as well. Oh, Yuri doesn't get the best exit, but he's got the smooth for now. Still, we've got plenty of laps in this race to work, so don't forget that one position here and there on the opening lap doesn't really matter. Around the outside for Dominic Blyer, though, Ferris gives plenty of space, and now we'll be on the outside through two more right-handers in towards the final sector. Dominic leaning slightly, but giving the room to Ferris. Well, Ferris still having to fight back hard.
Yeah, this smells a bit like... Yeah, but a lot of side-by-side. Now it's getting messy. I mean, Dominic is a hard nut to crack.
Got to be careful. Ferris realizing that probably not worth losing the draft of those in front, I think. So gets onto the brake, backs out. You have a handful of cars still behind. Chadwick Tormula 10th and 11th. Down in 12th, I think there's a bigger gap to whoever's fallen down the running order. But end of the opening lap from 6th to 8th, unfortunately for Ferris. See what he can do, though. The margin really now to close up to Yuri Kastorp. Don't really want to be fighting too much with the Mercedes for Williams Esports.
Yeah, I mean, the rule stands. If you are getting involved into fights, this will cost time, and this is what you cannot afford. Because if you're then in the second train, you know, like the P7 to P12 one, then this is exactly the time that is lost that you need to challenge for P6. But now maybe he can do a counter attack. But I don't know if Dominic has the pace to close the gap to Yuri, which would be good. Instead of fighting with Ferris now. Oh, yeah, the other way around as well.
The gap holding at around 0.4 or so of a second between Dominic and Ferris. It's then about a second or so between Yuri and Dominic so far. See what happens. Of course, different cars will have different strengths. You can see the Mercedes running out wide. Actually gains a couple of car lengths on Ferris so far. A little bit of a different line as well in towards this final sector of the lap. But it is Sebastian Job that leads in the Team Redline machine up front. Then a couple of Audis, Tumis Tatala, Marcel Cinčić behind. And we'll have 10 laps of racing. So after this, we'll still have 8 more to go. So plenty of time to try and work your way on forward. So Ferris not going to be too stressed just yet. And again, as much as, you know, there are some points paid out in this respective knockout race, target again, get into that top 6, put yourself in a good position. Next time we go racing, Florian's also at Road Atlanta, where, you know, there's only really a couple of passing opportunities. Hockenheim's maybe a little bit easier to pass, not necessarily saying it's easy.
No, definitely, yeah, you can pass at Hockenheim, but I mean, it's not so much a matter of the track in Rennsport or ESL R1. It's about the overall situation where you are. I mean, if you are in a position to fight with people, then I think you should really think about when you start doing it. So even if there is an opportunity to maybe overtake, I think you really have to choose the moment wisely. And this is what we've also seen. I think it was at the last round when also Robbie made some moves and so on. And it was like a several lap affair where you think, okay, this is now the moment where I do it. So I think overtaking here is never straightforward. But yeah, Ferris needs it at least twice if he wants to make it. Yeah.
See what will happen as we progress further into this race. But of course, time management at a track like this, where you're on the power from low speed relatively often, want to make sure you're preserving your rear tires. Dominic Blyer doing just enough to stay around 1 second or so from your race for the top 5. There hasn't really been too much of a breakaway, except for the top 3 who've somewhat stretched their legs amid some fighting for 4th, 5th, and 6th positions. So always interesting to keep that in mind, as you don't always expect them to be fighting inside of the top 6, but maybe a couple of drivers did think that they were a bit faster than where they had necessarily qualified, given how close they were all in times. That's not necessarily a surprise. Florian, I mentioned when we saw the qualifying lap for Ferris that, you know, this track's gone through its fair share of changes in terms of layouts. We used to go blasting around into the forest. Even I can remember some of the races back in the day around that sort of a track. What do you think of the modern Hockenheims? You know, we've got some issues maybe with track limits and whatnot, but it's still a very fascinating track, I think, in some ways.
Yeah, fully agreed. I mean, I connect very great successes with this track. 2012 Bruno Spengler against Gary Paffett for the DTM title. This is my magic moment with Hockenheim, and where he came from nowhere. He was the underdog, no chance to win the title normally, but then he did a great chase, and then in the end he crossed the line as champion. So Hockenheim, this is what I connect to it. Then once we did a magazine story about the track, and we wanted to see the old world forest straights and see how nature has taken the track back, and then we went there, did a shooting with Steve Soper, also a BMW touring car legend, and he was standing in the woods basically, and this was the place where in the old days the cars were going 300k and higher. So Hockenheim, amazing history. When I started playing video games, like in the old days, Formula 1 Grand Prix or whatever, then I also loved the long forest straights, and this is so unique. But this circuit now is definitely more modern and sort of timeless now.
It maybe has lost some of that old characteristic of the quote-unquote danger associated with the high-speed forest blast, but it's still very much an interesting track. And just because Formula 1 doesn't come here very often anymore doesn't really say too much. It's not like Formula 1 always puts on a banger of a race. Are we going to be treated, though, to something quite special in these last 5 laps? Because Dominic has closed up a couple of tens in the last couple of laps. You can see on the delta in the middle of the screen for Ferris, it's hovering just inside of the green, so he's getting faster lap times, lap on lap on lap. Dominic's closing that margin up towards Yuri as well. Yuri's not being dropped by those in front by any means, but he holds on to the final transfer spot. Those in front of him have Yuri as a little bit of protection. Yuri's got no such defensive sort of nature to fall back on right now. Instead, he's going to have to get elbows out. If that Mercedes closes, an opportunity for Ferris to try and take advantage.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's not over yet. It is a hard challenge, or a tough challenge, but let's see what the second half of the race will bring. I'm quite happy that Dominic is there to do the fighting, ideally for us if needed. So it's always better that, I don't know, 2 BMW supported cars do not get involved into this one fight, and then maybe they both don't make it. So this is the job of Dominic now. Of course, if we would be now 7th and we would chase Yuri, then we would also do it. But now I feel a bit more at ease now. On the other hand, still a long way to go to close the gaps.
So, purple sector in Sector 1. Not sure if that's for Ferris or for anyone else in the field, maybe, but it's a good sign in terms of the pace that is being set from Dominic. A little bit out wide for Yuri on entry into the braking zone, maybe just trying to build some more speed. It's very, very marginal right now. They have opened up the gap, though, have Dominic and Ferris to those behind, fighting for 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th position, so that's a good sign in terms of Ferris not looking over the shoulder. It's instead full focus and full attack on those in front, as once again just perfectly straddling that exit curb on their run down into this final sector. The precision from these drivers then to get up close to the wall on the entry in towards Mobile 1, then to make sure they don't slip up here through the penultimate couple of corners before they run themselves back towards the start-finish stripe. Goes to show the preparation, the number of hours, and the fun thing about Rennsport is that at least last year, it was telling the drivers how many kilometers they had driven. And so it was funny at the Esports World Cup, Florian, hearing some of the drivers talk about, oh, I've done this many kilometers, how many have you done? I would shudder to think what it would be like now with, what, a good almost 18 months or so for some of these drivers of practice and competition under their belts.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, we actually stopped looking at these numbers because then you can also draw the wrong conclusions. I think especially with the arrival of Caique, we have pretty much decided for ourselves that it's not the sheer number of laps that is the crucial bit. I think it's also about doing smart preparation and to really know what you are practicing, what you are trying to achieve with a certain lap, and not just do the hot lapping. On the other hand, it definitely helps, to get some speed in there. But if you look at the figures, there are also drivers that have ridiculously high numbers of driven laps, but they are not competing at the front. So it's not the only key to success here. So this is what we try to incorporate into the practice. Also to do more team sessions, to practice certain scenarios that occur in races. But in the end, it always comes down to this qualifying pace. If you get it together, and then suddenly you are with a decent lap in qualifying, which Ferris had. Then the start is maybe just 85%, and you lose 2 positions, and then you are stuck here. So this is the cruelty of the format. It's the same for everyone, so we always have to maximize things and try to get it done nevertheless.
Not all practice is good practice is something that I learned very early on when I was doing my sim racing, especially as someone who had and has a job. It's quite hard to try and, when some of these drivers are doing 10, 20, 30 hours a week of practice just for their competitions, let alone all the other racing they're doing to build experience and to get racecraft dialed in, you really have to make sure you practice in effective ways. Look at the data efficiently, so then you go back out on track and do things. It's always fun trying to maximize from there. So Dominic's right onto the tail now of Yuri, so a couple more car lengths back to Ferris, who is trying to close the margin down as we have 2 laps to go at the line. All it's going to take here is a small little fight, little tussle between Kastorp and Blyer. And here comes Ferris to try and make it 3, fighting for that final transfer spot. I think the problem is, Florian, you can see the gap slightly further up to 5th position. Too big. I don't think they're going to be a factor in these closing stages.
Yeah, I mean, now that Dominic is closer to Yuri, our only hope can be that they start fighting, as I've mentioned earlier, and then Ferris might benefit from it. I mean, to be honest, if you go through the perceived characteristics of drivers, then I think it is a quite explosive mixture in P6 and 7. So something can happen, but the question is, will it really happen? And is Ferris then able to benefit and get this 6th place? We'll see.
Really needs to close in on this lap, I think, because Dominic's there, and I don't think he's really going to sit back. Yes, there is, of course, race control. We don't just forget and dispute their part to potentially play, but Dominic, hard not to crack in terms of trying to make your way past him. Equally a stern competitor in terms of trying to make his way forward, knowing the stakes on the line. And Yuri goes defensive, exactly what Ferris wants to see. Dominic doesn't actually look to try and make the move so much as try and compromise the Maus BMW, trying to get onto the power and slingshot himself into this fight. 1 more lap to go at the line. But I think Ferris, you can see right now, just a little bit too far behind. Got a bit of work, bit of pushing to do to try and put himself in that battle. Kastorp out wide once more, having to defend very hard, all as Charlie Collins in 5th position just continues to break away.
Yeah, but something's brewing here. I think Dominic is the kind of guy, not in a negative sense, but he's always fighting, and obviously he wants to use his chance for P6 as much as Ferris wants, and so this is not over yet. And the question is, how big will the damage be, if there is any, in the sense of how much time do these two lose now on the final lap?
So here we go, on to that final lap, and 6th position, the target for Ferris Stanley. As he looks over, just references time remaining, position in the race potentially. What does he have to do? Out through turn 1. If they have not been too much of an abuser of track limits, they may have the opportunity to push a little bit more wide on this particular lap. Ferris closes once more, though. It's up here towards the hairpin that you expect all the drama to really end up unfolding from. So which way is Kastorp going to go? Is he going to force Blyer to jink to the outside, or does he have enough of a gap to just run his natural line, and Blyer's going to be forced to sit behind? Indeed. No moves being made here. Kastorp, though, misses the apex. Blyer's going to have a chance to try and attack into the arena.
and Ferris is there. This is one of these moments where I can't watch this, but because I have the feeling something will happen.
Through gridded and closed eyes is Florian watching right now. It's 3 cars within, what, half a second at best if they string themselves into a braking zone. Just a handful more corners to go, and this is where the track really narrows down as well. Time, unfortunately, not on the side of the Zebra Ferris Stanley. And so after what was a decent effort in qualifying, a wry smile on his face after that go fast session, maybe indicating Ferris thought he could have gone a little bit faster. Start was hectic, chaotic, and after losing a couple of positions, put on the back foot, Ferris unfortunately finishes down in 8th position. Another valiant effort for Ferris Stanley. Unfortunately, his day comes to a close in round 1 of the Drivers' Championship.
Yeah, I think this time qualifying was definitely a positive thing. Yeah, maybe at the start, you get into situations where you have to fight against 2 people, and then they had the better line and so on. So it could have easily gone the other way around, that Ferris was in Yuri's position, now be through. So yeah, first race in the books, and yeah, not what Ferris wanted, but I think it is a good trend. Qualifying lap was really positive, and yeah, with a bit more luck at the start, it would have turned out differently.
We'll have a chat with Ferris in a few moments' time as well. Looking forward to that. And don't forget, after that, it's off to knockout race number 2 with Caique Oliveira, Robbie Stapleford in knockout race 3, and then Ibraheem Khan in the final knockout race. But Ferris Stanley joins us now. Ferris, let's start with qualifying, because in the top 6, the time wasn't bad, but you looked both slightly unhappy and also slightly happy with the lap. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, sector. When I seen sector 2, it was already good, but yeah, first sector, last sector was already let me down a lot. But
Gotcha.
yeah, I think the last corner were like is the most main key. Like was already like was already sliding at the last corner, which they cost me like, was it 500? So which cost me a pole at least.
Yeah, I mean, the margins were so fine. And then let's talk about the start in the race itself, because rolling starts, which I wasn't sure if we were going to get standing or rolling, and then into turn number 1, pushed out a little bit wide, into the hairpin, out wide again. How difficult was it to try and fight for track position at the start on the outside?
I can't do anything on that. Like, I'm already get pushed out multiple times on that. So while I start racing, I get pushed, forcing push on inside a lot. On the straight alone, but yeah, I guess that's racing. So yeah,
let's talk about some of the stuff that's happened off the track, because you were, you know, I think you've gone to see a concert. Yeah, you've seen Vallelunga and everything that happened there. How has it been over the last couple of weeks since the team championship came to a close? How's it been going and doing some fun stuff out in the sim racing world?
I'm not going to Vallelunga, by the way, but going to concert, yeah, that's very good. It feels like refreshing, you know, taking detox pretty much. But yeah.
Next round is at Road Atlanta. Are you looking forward to that race? What are you expecting from that?
Oh, I'm positive as always. Like, I mean, like if I didn't make it this one to semi or final, I think we have chance to final this. But I think it's just my luck. I think right now. So hopefully in the next 2 weeks, well, or that. Atlanta and Spa, I have more lucks, which which is get better quality. Well, having the quality is decent, but I think it can be better. So hopefully I have more luck. Can go to final the last 2 rounds, then yeah. I think the target is like, I'm not gonna go above way expectation, but I think top 21, that's like my target. I think if top 9 was way too much, I think. But yeah, I think top 21 would be great. So yeah, there's still a chance for the next 2 rounds.
2 rounds to go, plenty of points to fight for. Ferris, we'll see you next time out. Unfortunately, your day comes to an end, but we'll see the rest of the Zebras out later on.
Thank you.
Great to catch up there with Ferris Stanley. And yeah, I think at the end of the day, qualifying on the outside, right on the bubble, put him in a very dangerous spot. He had to deal with physical, you know, pushing around and whatnot. So, you know, on the back foot initially, Florian, but definitely the pace was there. One small margin of error, maybe costing him a chance to fight for pole. That is the level of competition here in ESL R1.
Yeah, it's fractions, always fractions at the start, in the quali, and so on. And then you do a good quali lap, and it even needs to be a bit better this time because of the other guys who also did a good quali lap. So it's always a huge moving target. And as Ferris said, pace is there. Maybe you try, well, they all try to be this edge better every round, but here it's if you don't have Lady Luck on your side, then it's really tough in ESL R1, and we experience this quite often, but other teams as well. So three more quarterfinals to go now.
And I think we're already basically ready to go for the second of the knockout races. So I don't even think we're going to step aside and take a break here. So the action going to come thick and fast. Caique Oliveira also racing, of course, from the BS Competition Racing Office, as that's, I think, what we've officially started to call it now. The Samba machine slides its way through the final moments of practice. You can see there are about 2 minutes and 30-odd seconds left in this session for the drivers to get one final sense of the track. I'm not sure if we have more images to go and show, by the way, of Vallelunga, but I would, as much as I love looking at this BS Samba machine, I would also very much appreciate a couple more looks at the BS Chakato car, the racing suit that Phil Denez wore as well, because they look, oh, there we go. It looks great. It just looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks like our car that we see on iRacing, ACC, and all the other platforms. So, and I think big props to iLiveries, who created the basic livery. Then Andy Blackmore, a real world livery designer, who then always does the translation of the livery to the real car. And then also to the guys who are actually wrapping the car, because I was told it's not so easy to get this right with this patterns and that zebra on the rear wheel and so on. So, but it turned out so nicely. And the good thing is, and it's not just one-off, it's not just this PR stunt thing, but we run the whole season with it there, which is four events, 4 races. But this is a true joint effort by Chakato and us, and I don't know, quite unique, I think. And fighting for the title there means a lot to us as a team, to Phil as a driver, obviously. But as I've said, he has these double identities, yeah, and he is half sim racer and half real world driver, I would say. And this is my favorite, yeah, where he puts his foot on the ground and says, here we are. So but for us as a team, unique opportunity, unique storyline to tell, and just enjoying every bit of it.
That photo, Phil looks like he's trying not to burst out laughing at what he's being asked to do. It's a great photo, though. And I think my favorite of the bunch as well.
I didn't ask it. It was the photographer. Nothing to do with it.
Well, all those pictures that I have from ESL R1 at Gamers 8 with doing all those ridiculous poses, that was again because a photographer said, why don't you do finger gun? Like, photographers will ask for some crazy stuff. There is a picture of the zebras on the grid itself. You had the whole squad as well sat down in front of the car on the front row of the grid because it was qualified in second. There is that shot as well. You can see Ibraheem Khan. He's the only driver in a red shirt, Florian. He just has to be special.
He just loves his big red machine, and he has to show to the world. No, but it was great for him to be there. I mean, pretty much a iRacing based group that we had there, so it was good to have Ibra there as well. And the new zebra left front row, it's Phil's dad. What a great guy. I mean, I also tweeted about it the other day. It's like, if you want to make it, and I don't know, maybe also sim racing, not just real world racing, you need support from the people surrounding you. And I think this guy is the definition of support. Yeah, so it's pure dedication, love, sacrificing things to see his son doing well, and but still remaining such a likable character. Phil as well, by the way. He is eager and he knows what's on the line to become a real world champion or something. So you really have to sacrifice a lot. But he does this with ease and with passion and with a lot of emotions. And so this is where we support him as a team, because we feel the same and we want him to do well and do everything that's, let's say, in our hands to support him. If I could, I would buy a GT3 and first I win the Formula 1 title, and then I would buy the GT3 and then let him run. But we have to be a bit more modest.
Hey, you know the quickest way to become a millionaire, right? Be a billionaire and go racing. So if we know a billionaire, we can always line that up. There's big smile on the face of Ibra, who did change into a blue shirt at least once on the trip, so that's good to see. I saw the rest of the drivers there were Ryan Barneveld, Ruben Bonga, Danny Lorenzo, was it
Rainer Talvar?
Rainer Talvar, and then I'm sorry, because the picture's no longer on screen, I was trying to remember, and memory of a goldfish kind of thing. So that's a great photo as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's this overweight guy in the right in the middle, but then all the others look decent. Yeah, no, but,
and that's with Roberto, isn't that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, he's a DTM champion. He's a touring car world champion. He's an Italian racing hero, won 24 Hours Nürburgring and so on. So, but no, Hugo, please don't show this one picture where he looks like a monster. Anyway, he's totally at ease with this story, and he understands more and more what we do, and this is the bit that they are not just so we put a sticker on the car. They really want to do this. And this is what we love.
Yeah, and after the success at Sebring, first, we went out there, we did it once. The race went quite well. The second time we went and did it, the BS Turner machine went and won the race, which was amazing. And so now it's nice to see where it's now GT4 to GT3. We've gone across the pond as well. We still have the partnership with Turner Motorsports. I'm wearing my BS Turner shirt right now. So let's see, maybe you can find a team in Asia, Florian. And if they need an Asian driver, I'm not particularly quick, but we'll find a way.
I mean, we have a very good connection through Bruno and through Rion, who's doing Gran Turismo 7 for us, and with BMW Team Studio. I never know what's the English pronunciation is, Studie in German, and they are such a great team. Bob Suzuki is also is a crazy team manager, and so let's see if we can cook anything there.
It's crazy as well. If I forgot, Ritmo Miata is part of the BS squad as well. So maybe you never know. There's other routes as well to potentially.
And imagine the BS demon living somewhere on the let's see.
That would be the dream. That you read my mind. That's what I was thinking about. So Caique, by the way, has gone out as one of the final drivers in the qualifying session, I believe. So that's going to mean that there's a pretty good sense of who stacked up where by the time that he actually makes his way back around to the line. Looks as though provisional pole is around a 137.2. Erhan Yuyovsky, mere thousandths off of Moritz Lohner. And then Dara McCormack, Bono House, Oleg Zobolov run themselves in the rest of the top five. Nikita Wisniewski is also going to be setting a time just in front of Caique, but we ride on board with him as he heads out through the final sector. Just a couple more corners for him to work his way through. Going to be very, very important for him here to not make any mistake. Remember, Ferris was saying that he felt pole was lost in the final corner, sliding the rear tires just a little bit too much. It's why we talk about the management of rear tire temperature in Rennsport, even in these GT3 cars, but with traction control and ABS sometimes helping you, sometimes hurting you. How does it work for Caique Oliveira? It's the second, and he's not even happy with it, Florian.
Yeah. I mean, I cannot read the lap times properly. Is it 37.2 it was, yeah?
I think he's at 37.0, so he went 2/10 quicker than what Moritz Lohner would have done, yeah.
So this is a good lap.
there is this. Oh, we're going to get super replay. Oh, I
Super
love this.
replay, finally.
Sometimes it's super, sometimes it's not so super.
It's horrible. It's tragic replay.
We try not to think about those replays. Oleg Zoblov, I think, one driver who also has a slowdown. So keep it in mind again. This is one lap where you're being asked to push to the very limit. And we talk about, wanting to keep your tires underneath you in the final corner. You also need to make sure you haven't run off the lap any earlier than that. Officially, Caique Oliveira, 137.072, half a tenth off Nikitin Wisniewski in the G2 Porsche, but he's going to start inside of the top 6. There is no doubts about that. It's just Bennett, Lemonek, Rogers, Benito, and Antunes left to go. Rogers may have just picked up a slowdown. I'm not quite sure if that's what the red mark indicates or not, but Florian, right now, Caique in a great spot.
Yeah, it seems to be a slowdown for Josh. What's Luke doing? Yes. No, this cannot be.
Okay, that is not correct. It's done the same thing, Florian, that it confused us with a couple of weeks ago. It's a 137.000, but it's rounded it because it's a 136.9, I'm betting. It's rounded it to a 136.0 instead.
Superior. Yeah. Luke Bennett, he had the spinach can open and found a second.
At least this one is better than when our BS driver was at the very bottom of the grid, but the time indicated that he was at the very top of the grid. So
yeah. So Josh with the slowdown. All right. So this is bad luck for him. So he will be a threat from behind now.
Oh, sorry. I've tried not to die in laughter about the rounding errors. I shouldn't laugh too much. I'm a software engineer. I know just how difficult this stuff is. It's not easy by any means.
No.
So.
Or it's just a giga lap.
Or it is just if that's a giga lap, then Josh Rogers did indeed have a slowdown. He goes faster than Zoblov. So Jimmy Antunes, Enzo Benito. So Oliveira starts no lower than 5th position. Maybe though in 3rd spot. Again, if you know what, it's that saying, if my grandmother had wheels, she would be a bike. That's kind of the same thing about that lap time.
This is the funniest video ever.
Yeah, there's no way that lap time is a valid lap time.
No, with Redline, you never know. They are fast.
I need to get coaching lessons from Luke Bennett if they've done a 136.000. So, still in 3rd position for Oliveira, with now Antunes down in 9th, Enzo Benito left to come. And I'm not sure that middle sector is necessarily going to see him right up there towards the top in that phase Porsche. But here we go one more time. Oliveira in 3rd in a very, very comfortable position right now. Benito crosses, sees the time, and it was indeed a slowdown for him as well. That saw him not necessarily rise up to the very top, or at least maybe that's where I saw it initially.
Yeah, I thought he's right behind Caique Oliveira.
Oh, is he? Okay. No, you're right. He is. 137.144.
Yeah.
Super replay, too super for me.
Yeah, super. Super result, super replay, super lap time. Super Bennett.
Super Bennett, indeed.
1 second faster Bennett.
That's a jetpack that's powered him around that lap, not a BMW.
Yeah. No, I mean, BMWs are fast. Best cars in the world.
True. No, maybe he got access to the brand new BMW M4 GT3 Evo.
This would be unfair if he had the Evo already and we were looking like idiots.
Oh, it's always funny talking about the Evo kits in GT3 racing because they serve as with different purposes. Some of it to make cars simpler to service and whatnot for the teams to run it, to bring down operational costs and whatnot. So that's a part of it. But then there's other parts of making the car easier to drive for the amateur driver that sometimes in GT3 racing is helping to fund the car, the quote unquote bronze driver. So there's all sorts of things that the manufacturer is always trying to tweak in these GT3 machines to make them more viable as cars, not just, of course, for them to go and run, but for their customers as well to go and succeed around the world in, because that's the great thing about GT3 racing. You turn on the television or put on YouTube, most weekends you'll find GT3 racing somewhere around the world.
Yeah, absolutely. So much going on. And I mean, it was great not just to see our car at Vallelunga, but I haven't been to to, let's say, a regular series race, you know, which is not 24 hours Nürburgring or something like a special event, but just a regular national series, and the enthusiasm there, and so this feeling also that motor racing is alive, and it's Italian, so they are very special, the Italian fans, and with the Tifosi, and Ferrari won, and Fisichella was on the podiums and so on. But it was a great experience to feel this again. So are we rolling?
We are rolling, and on the inside this time for Oliveira. Remember, Ferris Stanley was on the outside, and it's very, very difficult when you're just being sometimes not pushed off the track, but being left as little room as is maybe permitted to give fair racing. On the inside, maybe a bit more in control of where you place your car, where you can roll your speed, and off and away we go for knockout race 2 in round 1 of the Drivers' Championship. Oliveira slots into line, and this is what you see starting up towards the front. Drivers a lot less willing to fight. Benito goes defensive, trying to cover off Moritz Lohner, who's defensive in his own regard, on Erhan Yayovski. Pair of drivers battling for 5th and 6th positions, with Premysław Lemonek, Dara McCormack, and a handful of really strong names outside of the top 6 positions who will be wanting to work their way on forward to the hairpin for the first time. Plenty of clean air behind for Caique Oliveira, and so he's not even looking too much in the rear view mirrors. He's going to be onto the brakes in a straight line. You can see all the juking and the diving behind as they battle. Oliveira's going to get, I thought for a moment, a little bit of contact from behind. He looks like he's the only driver to be getting through that corner without any sort of trouble, and so I think the gap has now opened up Florian exactly what he wanted to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And they start fighting, or they are fighting behind him, which is really positive. They are not fighting ahead of him, so let's see. But now he has to look at Nicodem and just try to close the gap to him, and then stay with this top 3 train. This should be good. Yeah, but this is what we are talking about all the time. I mean, I think Caique was fractions of a second quicker in qualifying than you are in P3, and you can stay out of trouble, and there's a very good chance to make it into the semis and even further. So let's hope that we can keep this up now, and because it's still a long race now with 10 laps.
It's a very different race to what we had in knockout race 1, though, where it was, Ferris trying to work his way in. This time Oliveira is in, and now just trying to make sure that those behind don't close and challenge those in front don't break away, and leave him vulnerable to the threat from those that start to slingshot their way on forward. So as Luke Bennett and Nikodem Wisniewski work at the front, it's a BMW that leads from a Porsche, and a BMW that runs from a Porsche in 3rd and 4th position as well. Look at some of those names further down the pack. That's what we were talking about in terms of qualifying, right? Josh Rogers, we sometimes call him king of qualifying. That slowdown saw him start on the edge of the top 10, one of 2 or 3 drivers potentially with slowdowns. He's in 8th position right now, but Dara McCormack's in front of him. Moritz Lohner's that driver on the final transfer spot right now. We'll see how much fighting there is between them, but as much as we saw little fighting in knockout race 1, might end up seeing a similar thing here in knockout race 2, as the gap actually growing to Enzo Benito. I think Caique is in a very, very comfortable spot.
Yeah, this looks really good and promising. And quite a surprising mix of drivers in the top 6, I must say. Or, I mean, Josh cannot really make moves. I think he's P8 at the moment, so Dan McCormack as well. So this is a very, very strong quarterfinal with many big names in there, and so running in P3 quite comfortably is a mega achievement.
Now, I've commentated on some, sort of dirt racing formats where you have these multiple races and this bracket sort of a format, but each race actually then is part of determining the grid for the next part of the race. And so it doesn't have the repeat qualifying, whereas here we do have that repeat of the 1-lap qualifying pressure. So remember, Oliveira is going to have to qualify again up towards the front. If he makes a small mistake like Ferris did out of the final corner, finds himself losing that half a tenth, suddenly he's in that situation of trying to fight his way forward in the semi. These are all the things that drivers will be thinking about. The fortunate thing is there's a little bit of a gap between this race coming to an end and Caique racing in semi-final 1. So he'll get the chance to watch his teammates in knockout race 3 and 4. Then there's a brief window for race control to quickly review any incidents and, if needed, finalize the results from the respective knockout races from before. That then sets the field for the semi-finals. So some time for Caique to relax. I say relax, but he looks quite relaxed right now, like he's already broken into the Caiquerinas.
Yeah, I mean, in Vallelunga we didn't have Caiquerinas, but we will have next week, by the way, because we have an appointment in a Brazilian restaurant here in Munich, and then we do some Brazilian food testing. Can the Brazilians here, or the German Brazilians, Brazilian Germans, do the churrascaria meat cooking and as good as they can in Sao Paulo? This will be a big test. I will definitely have plenty of meat. Sorry to all veggies out there, I can't help it. And so this will be on the agenda next week. Hopefully with a good result. In the background that we deserve some Caiquerinas.
You may have our producer Hugo Luis trying to come and join you. He'll make the trip over from Cologne, but we'll figure that out.
Come over. Picanha for everyone.
And again, this nickname I think is stuck officially. Caiquerina, that's the one we're going with. Yeah. So we have officially a nickname for this, the driver and car combo. Just for the record, Florian, if this car ever races in an iRacing special event, it is still the Caiquerina car, even if Caique's not in it. Just so you know, that's what the commentators are going to call it.
Yeah. I mean, cars have identities, cars have a heart and a soul, so this is definitely a lifetime thing.
Still need to come up with the nickname for Robbie Stapleford's car. Now, ChatGPT has been absolutely no help for us, so... You know what? We need a reverse ChatGPT. We need an AI where we can send it like our liveries, our design for the car, and it can work backwards from that to come up with the name. That's how we're going to become rich and win the Formula 1 World Championship. Yeah,
I think ChatGPT is able to possess pictures. I mean, I can just try this and upload the pic and then ask for name suggestions. Give me a second.
Oh, cool. Okay, let's try this. Let's see if ChatGPT, for the first time in the history of broadcasting, at least in the world of sim racing, from what I can tell, be useful. We're on to lap 5, so next time by we'll be halfway through. Gaps opened up, as mentioned, though, to Benito, to Lohner, Yuyovsky, McCormack, Rogers, Lemonek. I mean, there are some big names that are going to miss out here. Fortunately, Caiquerina, not one of them. He sat directly behind Nikodem Wisniewski and Luke Bennett in the Team Redline and the G2 machines, respectively. And with these three drivers split by just over a second, yes, but no real pressure being put amongst them, it should be comfortable passage forward to a semi-final. Semi-final 1, of course, to be specific. That greets these drivers at the checkered flag in 5 more laps' time as they just continue to find their way around this rather flat facility, but with its own little challenges and unique quirks and characteristics to come to grips with. I've pontificated for long enough that I'm hoping ChatGPT has been able to work its magic.
No, we're in the middle of it, but...
Okay, we're still working.
Yeah. Okay. Thunderstrike, Blaze Razor, Shadow Fury, Turbo Titan, Speed Phantom, Inferno Beast, Circuit Crusher. No. Okay, so we start again.
So none of them are even close to acceptable, it sounds like, though.
No.
Yeah, see, this is the problem. Like, if it can't even get close, how, they always say that, you should check the work of the AI anyway, but if you're having to check all of the work that it's just done, at some point there are quite a few tasks, at least the ones that I tend to be doing, where it's quicker for me just to do it the way that I was intending to do it without AI trying to guide me along the way. I should clarify. AI has helped me in a couple of cases when I've been trying to find information and I'm struggling. The only problem is I've been able to convince it that it was wrong. And that it was giving me incorrect information. So that doesn't really give me much confidence in the information it spits out. Anyway, we're going off on AI tangents here on a Friday afternoon, evening.
But there's something which is not to underestimate here. There's a marmalade here in England, which is, I think, made of oranges. Yeah, so this is the marmalade machine. Yeah, it's not well, we should maybe put it in the, I don't know. No, shouldn't we? No.
Okay, well, okay.
Then we have the saffron speeds. Saffron is new. That's also the same color robot. I don't know.
So, okay.
Marmalade Machine. Orange.
Marmalade Machine is one. But when you started talking about Marmalade in the UK, it did make me think, I'm pretty sure there's like... Okay, I think there's a UK confectionery that we can go off here. I'm going to go off and do my research, and hopefully by the end of the broadcast we will have a proper name suggestion. And maybe what we can do is ChatGPT can generate the pitch for it, and I'll send that to you. That's what we'll try and do.
Pumpkin Racer, here we go again. Apricot Ace.
See, okay, so the pumpkin one was something that I had as well.
Yeah.
And pumpkin plow, I think, was the suggestion that Alex behind the scenes here at BS Competition has been championing and advocating for. But
the Clementine Cruiser.
That's the other one.
This is the other one. No.
Yeah, which I don't think Robbie necessarily is on board with those just yet.
No. Maybe we have to move away from the orange car and rather. Well, now we're not doing Caique Oliveira justice here, talking about Robbie all the time. He will get his airtime, but this is why Caique makes it so. It's only because Caique makes it so look
simple.
Easy. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he made it simple with the name, to be clear. Like his nickname, Caique Oliveira, that part was easy. The driving, don't worry, that part is still hard. He's just really taken that qualifying spot and really made good use of it. Josh Rogers has just gotten up to 6, so they're fighting in that group behind, which is exactly what these 3 up front want to see. With 3 laps to go, all that Caique has got to do right now is not put it off the track and be in a very, very good spot. And I wonder as well, Florian, you know, as someone who also lives quite far away from my own family, I remember back to the first time that I left. I can only imagine what it's like for Caique this week to have his girlfriend around and that support, right? The ability to be talking in the natural first language. To have all of those emotions, you know, similar sorts of stuff that can be sympathized with. That, in a lot of ways, I'm sure, has just calmed him down a lot coming into this round.
Yeah. And I mean, it is a bit dangerous, you know, as a team owner and so on. Normally you would say, okay, to prepare fully for the event, you have to focus on your own, no distraction, blah, blah, blah. But this is totally different here. I mean, there was a 2-week gap between the events, and it is just not, valuable to go hot lapping for 2 weeks in a row. This is just stupid. So the time is there to do something nice, something positive. Munich is, to be honest, a great place. This is also what Caique agrees. Yeah, I mean, he's seen quite a few sim racing related places in Europe. Yeah, and Munich is not is definitely, I don't know, the one with the most attractions, things you can do, and so on. I don't want to mention Gronau, to be honest, but he was there, and this is his comparison point, and so he's quite happy about Munich, and this is what he's doing here. He should just collect good memories, and now having his girlfriend here is even better. And sometimes he says, okay, I'm just over the moon. It's a bit surreal what's happening here, and but this is what we at the team love so much, that we create memories together. This was also the same in Vallelunga, unique memories that none of us will ever forget, and this is what I like.
Yeah, no, I think as well, you know, being in a big city has just got its own little things that make it easier than when you're out somewhere smaller like Gronau, especially for someone that maybe has been in big cities before, right? As I remember, I went to a college where there were more people in the college than in the town that we were in, or something like that. And after growing up in Singapore, where, you know, it's such a small island and you've got 5 million people congested into it, it was like, wow, there's space. People have houses here. It's not just all apartments. There's all sorts of wild things that you go through. And gap, by the way, to Enzo Benito, slightly coming down. So he's not been involved in that fight with Moritz Lohner, Josh Rogers, and Dara McCormack. So Caique, 1 more lap to go. Can see that portion behind is closed, but then Lohner Rogers, McCormack, those are the drivers that are likely to be fighting. Benito not going to be pushing the issue too much. Again, all Caique Oliveira has to do, stay out of trouble right now. Spot in semi-final 1 will be up for grabs, and maybe more importantly, some points as well, right? Because I think Ferris mentioned it. He wasn't necessarily thinking too much, Florian, about trying to lock himself directly into the Esports World Cup by finishing in the top 9 in the Drivers' Championship. Instead, he wants to just make sure he's solidly consistent and inside of the top 21, so he has a chance. Remember, 22nd on down are eliminated in the road to the Esports World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, what you have to do in the Driver Championship is to survive the quarterfinal, because then you're in the top 24 and then you have a chance to be there, at least to race in this championship also at the Esports World Cup, at least in the second chance race. But I mean, Caique has been in the final last time. He has shown it a couple of times that he has this final DNA. Yeah, so I think it can be even a goal for him to make it into the top 10 or top 9. Probably will make it in top 10 and not in top 9, we will see. But it's still a very long way, but he has what it takes for sure.
On this final lap, we've got 2 more knockouts to come. After Caique, of course, it's Robbie Stapleford, and we'll finish up in the quarters, the knockout races, by seeing the big red machine of Ibraheem Khan roll out onto track. And we're talking about the BS Chakato livery and how wrapping it was slightly, with the pattern in particular, slightly of a challenge. It's one of those things that in the sim racing world you sometimes think about, oh, it was really difficult to line it up on the virtual car. When you actually have to go and put it on the real car, a slightly different challenge to print it out and then conform it in 3D space as well. But car looks great in sim, car looks great in the real world. Our liveries, Andy Blackmore did a great job, as did the rappers. And maybe this virtual Caique Oliveira machine, very reminiscent to the BS Turner car, will get it stay in the sunshine maybe in the future. But for the time being, Oliveira out of the final corner, 3rd in knockout race number 2, and a spot in semi-final 1 officially his.
Amazing job, Caique. Oh yeah. I mean, from A to Z, great performance, qualifying, race, easy. And welcome to all the Owen Carroll fans who just rated the channel. This is now the highest number of viewers ever for sim racing on this channel. Welcome to BS Competition, guys.
Welcome along, and to the newest member of the Zebra family as well, Owen Carroll, who made his debut in the iRacing 6 Hours of the Glen, powered by VCO, although maybe I should not have brought up that race. Moving swiftly on, Caique Oliveira, you see him on screen. We'll bring him in for a chat in a few moments' time. Let's not forget, after this, we've got 2 more knockouts to come. If you're just joining us, it will be Robbie Stapleford up next here at the Hockenheim ring for first round of the ESL R1 Drivers' Championship, and then it will be Ibraheem Khan. But Caique Oliveira joins us now.
Well done, Caique.
Thank you, thank you.
3rd place in qualifying, 3rd place in the race. How are you feeling? That qualifying laps look pretty good. The margins are tight as ever, but it put you in a really good spot for the race itself.
Yeah, exactly. The quality, yeah, it was really on the target, like the safe quality to be like in a good position, but at the same time it's a very strong lap that put me on 3rd, and when like comparing to the first quarterfinal, of course the first race, but doesn't matter, was really close to pole. So I'm really glad to put finally in Monza was really nice, but I think here in Hockenheim it's a bit harder with the cuts and stuff like that. So yeah, I managed to drive it just fine, safely from P3. The start was actually quite smooth. Nobody did anything stupid. Yeah, I'm just glad to be. I think it's my first podium. Yeah, so yeah, I'm really glad.
And you know, let's talk as well about the fact that you talk about it being a safe qualifying. I didn't realize that the track limits here were actually more aggressive than Monza. That's good for us to kind of know as well moving forward, because there were a handful of those slowdowns. But then in the race itself, you know, you settled into the rhythm. What are you now feeling heading into the semi-final? Because there are a couple of strong drivers that struggled in qualifying that ended up fighting their way on forward. It's going to be difficult as ever in qualifying in the semi-final. You've got to do it again. How confident are you that you can get the lap done once more?
I'm quite confident to do it. It's really turn 1, to be honest, for me. After turn 1, I think I can put the lap really consistently because there is too much risk. It's super strict. I think this is the most strict corner in all sim racing, to be honest. But we need to deal with that. And yeah, I think with the package that I'm putting now, you just keep it nice and smooth. I can go into another final and maybe fight for a better position than 12th in the final. And of course, it's in the final, but I want it more. So yeah, we'll see. BMW is not looking too bad. It's quite decent. And yeah, it's the same for everybody. I saw some people there, like for example, Josh got a slowdown. Everybody can get a slowdown. So yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, I'm hyped and looking forward to another semi-final and hopefully another final.
Let's talk as well about, you know, you've got this little gap. We'll see the two teammates run as well. But this Drivers' Championship, slightly different from the Team Championship as well, right? Because, you know, top 21 have a chance to make it. Only the top 9 are locked into the Esports World Cup. And a lot of the focus is on the Team Championship as well. So these 3 rounds, talk to us about the mindset. What's going through your preparations as you get ready for each of these rounds?
To be honest, I think I take it as everything as a team. I don't know if I mentioned before, but I'm super interested in the Team Championship, of course, like the driver standings, the championship, and to be highest as possible is one of my individual interests. But at the same time, we need to perform as a team, and I'm always helping, and like we are sharing. The guys are helping me. The same, especially Ferris. Like unlucky that he put a decent lap, but I think he was in the wrong place at the wrong time and couldn't fight really back to P8, but he cared a lot with me of his findings and stuff like that. So like the approach is still continues as a team, and I think like I just watch all the races from the guys in between practicing and getting ready for the semi-final, not letting my energy go lower, because I know that Ibra and Robbie can make it just same as me. So we'll see.
Awesome. We'll let you go, have a bit of a break. We'll see you in semi-final number 1. Caique, great qualifying, great race, and best of luck for what you've still got to do today.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Ciao, ciao.
Always great to chat with Caique Oliveira as he gets ready to go for, again, semi-final number 1. There is the orange BS competition car, still yet to be nicknamed. So, to all the viewers that are joining us now here on the BS competition channel, help us name this car. Robbie Stapleford is in a orange BS competition machine. The yellow one that Caique drives has been nicknamed Caique Oliveira. Now, Florian, my suggestion after you mentioned Marmalade Jam, I went and I figured out exactly what I was thinking of. Jaffa cakes. It's I'm not sure if you've ever eaten one.
Yeah, of course. Plenty of them.
I want a Jaffa cake related name for this car.
Ooh, yeah. What does Jaffa mean? Is it a place in Tunisia? What maybe? I don't know. Is it needs to be something special. I was rather going the route of stapler, yeah, because Robbie calls himself the BS+ stapler, and but no.
The Jaffa stapler. I don't know if that works.
No, I think I will. Yeah, I need to involve my friend Chat again.
Okay, let's see what Mr. GPT can give us. We'll give him the image of the car. There is Robbie, as ever, with his multiple sim rigs behind. And if you're wondering why he's got them, well, A, he's won plenty through sim racing competitions, but B, he also uses them across multiple platforms. He's got a specific rig dedicated to Rennsport. Behind is the rig that he actually uses for Assetto Corsa Competizione. Florian, tomorrow is the second round of the Intercontinental GT Challenge Esports, where BS Competition's Herd will be competing in their BMW M4 GT3. Should be an interesting race, 24 hours at Spa.
Yeah, it will be interesting, 24 hours. I mean, how shall I put it? Somehow it looks that the BMW is not the best car to be in these, let's say, races. So it's very, very, very tough with the BOP situation. But as usual, we will fight, and we know we have one of the strongest rosters out there, yeah, so they can do it, and now we will see what we can extract over the course of a 24-hour race. But it's always a challenge, and a lot of games going on, like who tries to hide performance maybe, but yeah, this is the name of the game. This happens, but yeah, still will be a great race. Spa's always amazing. 24-hour races are amazing. Rain will definitely play a certain role there, but let's see. I cannot predict any outcome, but we will give our best for BWM. Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to being on the commentary for a couple of those hours at the start and the end. I think I'll be at the start with Luke Crane. I'm on the end with Paul Jeffrey. So I'll be very much seeing all the action, and no bias tomorrow, Florian, unfortunately. Bias today, but not tomorrow.
No one expects this.
Okay, so Robbie Stapleford sits and waits to go in qualifying with the green flag already being shown for the first handful of drivers. So in this respective knockout race, if you're curious, we have Johan Hart, Ulas Ozildurim, Jakob Brzezinski, Marco Pajic, Christopher Dambits, Dane Warren, Kevin Stiggy, Matti Siepola, Daniel Tiklik, and then Yuri Toman and Dennis Schoninger, the 11 other drivers alongside Robbie Stapleford. So again, it's a who's who in the world of sim racing. There aren't many drivers missing here that you would maybe, expect to see at the top level. It is the who's who, that is for sure, as they get ready to go. So one by one, they get fired out in the order they were actually ranked in practice. And so there is the world feed as the Apex Mercedes makes its way through turn number 1. So that will be Johan Hart beginning his qualifying run.
Yeah, I think anything's possible again. Robbie also did some great laps in the practice, and the same goes for him. That also went for Caique and Ferris. Qualifying is crucial, and then I think what we've seen is that if you're not maybe called Josh Rogers, it's very hard to gain positions in these quarterfinals. So it is qualifying that counts, and let's see what Robbie can do later on.
I'm just noticing that, by the way, we gave out a bunch of subs on our Twitch channel. I managed to get one, apparently. Robbie Stapleford's got one. Oscar Rene and Ferris Stanley. So we may need to give out a couple more to some more actual fans of BS competition, because we want you to stick around with all the great stuff that's coming up. We'll have more coverage, of course, of this ESL R1 Drivers' Championship on the road to the Esports World Cup. But Florian, I think, the thing that I've been most enjoying, if I'm being completely honest, and I think you know this as well, Tuesday nights, when we have coverage of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series, when we watch Jordi Lopez and Garrett Lowe in the Sunset and the Mahler BS competition Ford Mustangs, and we have Pete Fink, the voice of NASCAR in Germany, alongside BS Competition's Alex, team manager as well. It's just so much fun, and we've had some great success as we close in on the playoffs with Garrett Lowe locked in for the championship hunt.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a good fun to watch these broadcasts in the middle of the night in Germany. Okay, great racing. I finally start understanding NASCAR. Yeah, I mean, over years, I was year I was just watching it, and not frequently watching it, but sometimes, and now I'm really we are all into it now. We are big fans of this and follow even more races from the real world. And when we signed Garrett and Jordi, I mean, I think now it's crunch time for Robbie. We were confident that the two guys will be quick, but now they are absolutely confirming this plan. Yeah, I mean, Garrett won a race, is now locked in for the playoffs, and now I think Jordi is in P10 in the pure points list, so he also has a good chance to make it. Obviously, a win would be best. Hopefully next Tuesday. Yeah?
And it's what makes eNASCAR so exciting. The win and you're in, and that's why Jordi 10th in points should be locked into the playoffs, except he's on the bubble because those that have won are locked in first. On board with Robbie in the middle sector, though, as he heads off to the arena, as already have seen 5 drivers, Kevin Siggy, Dane Warren, Johan Hart, Yuri Toman and Dennis Schoninger jump their way onto the board. I see Yuri Kastorp jumping his way into our chat after a very good effort in that first knockout race to hold on to a transfer spot, albeit at the expense of Ferris Stanley. Now, that was a shake of the head from Robbie in the middle sector. I'm not sure if that was a look over at the time and maybe not happy with the 46.5 or 46.6 or so that he ended up setting, but it was definitely an elicited reaction from something. final sectors where Ferris said that he found the rear end was sliding around and maybe costing him a little bit of grip. Seems as though the hands are not as wild and fast for Robbie, although definitely not the lap time I think he was expecting, and he's down in 7th with still a handful of drivers yet to put their time onto the board. Some work to do to try and fight his way forward as we look at the not so super replay.
This is the Marmalade Machine replay. 37.4 or something, yeah, so this was definitely not what he's capable of. But what did Siggy do? 36.869. Ooh.
And again, that is actually a 36.869. That's not a Luke Bennett 36.000, which is definitely a 37.000, but we won't talk about it.
I mean, yeah, Kevin is a machine, for sure.
So that time, that's for sure. I think it's the first 36 we've had today, Florian.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have officially been banned, by the way, in the BS competition channel for threatening to wear another team's shirt tomorrow. So you have to unban me next Friday when we go racing. Here comes Matti Sipola. 37.431 for Robbie Stapleford, I think is going to mean, unfortunately, at the very best, unless Zildurim's got to slow down, but outside of that, I don't really know if Robbie's expecting on pace to be faster than too many more. Matti should go faster, and indeed, Matti Sipola jumps his way into 5th. Here comes Ticklick in his Mercedes. They've not had an easy day by any means in that Mercedes so far, but middle sector not bad, first sector not bad as well. Might be a decent time. So Christopher Dambeats and Marco Pajic after this will still have representative times maybe to set. So Robbie could still end up starting inside of the top 10, which would at least give him a little less work to have to do on track in terms of passing his way on forward. That was also a shake of the head. Drivers are always pushing for a little bit more, and maybe that final sector costing Ticklet because Stapleford in front. So Robbie's got at least one driver that he'll be faster than in terms of times. That first sector for Zildurim, though, definite slowdown there. 21.9 instead of a 25. He's going to be right down the back of the board.
Yeah, I mean, every position counts, so this means quite surely P11, maybe better, so let's see.
So Christopher Dambeats and then Marco Pajic, final two drivers to run. Here comes the BMW from Mouse. That first sector's not bad. Second sector's not bad either, I think. It's a good sign for the Mouse BMW to make his way into the top 6, which would drop Robbie down a couple more spots. If you start in 8th position, you're on the outside, which is maybe not necessarily the best place to be. Something else to keep in mind, you might want to be on the inside. And so as Dambeats goes up into 4th position, Marco Pajic running towards the line in that Guild Audi. Again, first and second sectors trending towards exactly where Christopher Dambeats has already placed himself in 4th position, so it should be in the 37.1s. Hearth and Dambeats split by 0.02 between them. Is this going to be another single lap time that is close to that equation? Here he comes, the German to the line. It ends up being a 37.2, so lost out a little bit more in that final sector, and so as Kevin Siggy grabs pole position, Robbie Stapleford is going to be down in 10th spot, and with some work to do, Florian to work his way into semi-final 2.
Yeah, Robbie has done it before in the team championship, so I hope he gets off to a good start. And and to be honest, if you have to gain so many positions, then you need to speculate or hope that something happens before you that maybe takes out 2 cars or makes you pass 2 or 3 cars at once. So it worked out in the past. So. Nothing lost yet for Robbie, although this lap definitely was not what he's capable of in qualifying.
No, now you've got to try and do the fighting. So let's see what can be done with 40 seconds left to go in this brief warm-up session for the drivers. A rolling start as well, as opposed to the standing starts which we saw for much of course, 2023. So that is a welcome, I think, sight in terms of not having to focus on dropping the clutch so efficiently. But you are, of course, 2x2 filing your way into turn one, and it's a treacherous turn one, as you see on board with Robbie. Have that inside curb that you're trying to clip and rotate the car just the right amounts. Go over to the left, don't get a slowdown as Zildurum did in qualifying, then onto the brakes. Turn two, where you carry all of that speed in through towards the Parabolica and the braking zone at the hairpin. These are just that early stages of the lap as Robbie gets yoinked off the track. And now the important thing for sim drivers is this is where they all are very capable of not letting the nerves settle in. I always used to get worried. Okay, it's time to go racing. What's going to happen? No, you can't afford to be thinking too much, Florian. Instead, you just got to get locked in and dialed in to the race ahead of you.
Yeah. I mean, this is my great experience in sim racing. And when I was, I don't know, when the race came closer and I wanted to start streaming, everything went down the hill. You know, then the camera suddenly wasn't there. I couldn't start the stream. I was running out of time. Then I had to qualify. And then the complete mindset was gone. And so it's important. I think Robbie does it the right way. He was smiling. I think he's able to reset after such a qualifying, and then now take the race as a separate challenge, and because he knows that he can do it, and it's the right mindset for sure.
He's on the outside of the penultimate row, though. What's that going to mean as we get ready to go racing for the third of the knockout races, already with Caique Oliveira in semi-final 1. Let's find out, can Robbie Stapleford, can Ibraheem Khan make their way to semi-final 2? Oh, that's not great. Bit of a slow start there for those in front, and so as Jakub Brzezinski blocks the line for Stapleford, he battles alongside of Daniel Tiklik, who is not going to be able to use that Mercedes momentum to sweep its way into turn 1. Robbie's going to look to try and carve his way around the outside. What's that going to mean, though? First, the battle with Dennis Schoeniger in front. Pajic and Brzezinski is behind. A little bit of argy-bargy. Slows those two drivers down who start on the final go. Pajic is in the grass. Robbie can't go and take it 3 wide, though. Has to slot into line because there goes Dennis Schoeniger instead. He'll be on the very outside trying to cut to the inside. Aggression on the part of the Marmalade Machine. He'll be on the inside of the mouse car as well. Doesn't run into the side of Christopher Dambeat. And Robbie Stapleford is fighting in 7th spot.
This is what we want. Come on, Robbie.
Oh, great start. And now, as you can see in front, they're fighting. Around the outside for Jakub Brzezinski. Does he overcommit? No. Gets it slowed down just in the nick of time. Christopher Dambeat watches as the two cars in front battle for what would be 4th and 5th position, still into the final sector with Dennis Schoeniger looking. This has been the craziest start to the knockout race, and those cars up front have got a separation. That means this is not going to settle down anytime soon. This is what Robbie wants to do. Pick and find his opportunities outside through the penultimate couple of corners. Doesn't get it done on Brzezinski, but the move, the advantage, the opportunities are there. It's almost out of shape. Contact with Marco Pajic. Schoeniger firing it up the inside. It's intense right now. Decisions having to be made as off into the grass. Stapleford gets pushed.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, well, all that hard work undone. He's back down in 11th spot and now has to do all that work once again. This, though, is what this racing is meant to be all about. The drivers putting it all on the line, and Florian, Robbie gave it his best.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, these guys are fighting like crazy, so it's maybe not even over yet, but I don't know. Fighting is okay, but I don't know, pushing each other wide and from off the track, I don't like this.
It's going to be very close down to the hairpin as well as Zildurum tries to fight with Robbie. So Robbie's back up to 10th. Ulash does go deep.
What is this? What is this?
Runs into the side of Marco Pajic.
This is Mazda. It's me and Mazda, you know?
Yeah, I don't think he was going to make the corner without the assistance of Pajic to slow him down, unfortunately, there. So Robbie on the outside, Ulash still fighting. This is not ideal, though, because remember, as much as this is a fight for these drivers trying to close, the separation has seen the top 3 break away, Florian, so 4th, 5th, and 6th spots still very much up for grabs.
Yeah, it's quite senseless, you know. And now he's hitting him, probably. Why not?
Oh, no. Now finally Robbie has got it done. Left just enough room. but hard racing, and now the gap to Page opened up, the gap to Schoniger opened up as well. But the choo-choo train has built up behind of Matti Sipala, with Jiri Toman, the other Audi that's involved in the fighting at the top of the queue, I should say. Let's see what will happen. Remember, top 6 to move forward to the semi-final with 2 laps complete, still 8 to go. Out through turn 1. Watch the cars ride that inside curb, get the right side tires up into the air. Green on the Delta for Robbie is no surprise. Ulas a little bit too far behind, so not looking behind just yet. I get the feeling Robbie, Ulas will be working together now to just try and one by one pick their way on forward. It's going to be difficult, but that is what qualifying down the back sometimes means. You try something that doesn't work, and then you have to try it again. 10 laps to fight your way on through. Robbie Stapleford is never going to say no, though.
No, but it's a bit annoying, to be honest, because I think Robbie did nothing wrong at all in this. I have to rewatch it. Maybe there was also some little touches there, but this looked all very fine and like good racing. Then there were 1 or 2 other moves that were really good overtaking, also from the G2 car, I think. So this was good driving, but then suddenly the torpedoes go wild, you know, and then it gets a bit too messy, and then you cannot make it, and then you lose the time again. You start silly fights, and yeah, I don't know. So this is not as mature as I would hope for.
Yeah, I think for Robbie, what maybe kind of also was a bit of it was right through this corner where things slightly got set off, and so he got a good run out of it. The Porsche in front didn't, and that sort of checked everyone up. So just the nature of lap 1 as well. I'm not an advocate for what sometimes they do in real motorsports, where they say, oh, incident on lap 1, we'll look at it less less strictly. In fact, I think you should be less lenient on lap 1. You should encourage people to be more safe, that given that they are closer to each other. But that's a distinction without a difference at this point. Effectively doesn't really change the situation itself. 4 laps now, or rather onto the 4th lap, as the gap to Marco Page holds at just over 1 second. Draft range just within grasping distance for Robbie, but some laps to try and close, and then some laps to try and make the move, but running out of those laps if you don't close up sooner rather than later. And that's what the main focus will be, as he doesn't have to worry about Ulas for the time being. It's just, never mind, right on cue. Up the inside for the FaZe Porsche, who misses the apex. A little bit more contact, and they've slowed each other down just a little bit more.
Yeah, thanks.
That's not ideal for either party here. They're just effectively fighting for a point or 2. Marco Page will be quite happy that the rearview mirror gets less filled with the sight of the battling, as the camera got very, very close out through the arena.
Ulas is a funny guy.
Oh, he's a great guy as well.
He is. I know. Yeah.
I remember chatting with him, Jem Bullock-Bassey. The great thing about being at the Esports World Cup last year, Florian, genuinely was after the racing, when we'd sit in the players' lounge and watch the likes of Enzo Benito and Jamie Fluke just try and beat each other's times on Trackmania. Or being in the pool with a bunch of the drivers and just talking, because it was so warm that we were cooling off in the pool. And so Jem Bullock-Bassey, Sebastian Job, Ulas Zildirim, you had all sorts of people just sitting there and chatting. It was really fun.
Yeah. Wait until I do a cannonball this year. So, and then there's...
Is that the plan?
Yeah.
Okay, I've got to try and make sure I'm there for that. Just for the cannonball, not for anything else.
Absolutely.
Well, so
No.
the other fun thing that you guys did at the Esports World Cup, right, was as Robbie tries to close back up on Marco Page, Ulas might have another look into the hairpin this time around, but because there was, prizes for content and stuff, you took the drivers and you actually went and did things in Saudi Arabia, as compared to the commentators who sat in the hotel room or sat in the commentary booth.
Yeah. I mean, we went to the edge of the world thing, and because it was a really impressive sight to see this with your own eyes, in the middle of the desert, how suddenly there's a formation of cliffs and rocks and so on. This stops, and it literally looks like the end of the world. So yeah, we did a video of that. Yeah, this was a good thing.
What fun things are we going to do in Saudi Arabia? Have we already started thinking where we can?
Yeah, absolutely. But I won't.
Secret. No, secret.
It's a bit secret, but it will. If it works out, it will be really cool. It will, show some, some support for arts and women and so on. And let's see. Yeah.
Yep, see, we'll keep it secret for now, but there's plans. That's what the important bit was, to make sure that there was stuff in the plan. Cannonball, by the way, Florian, someone has asked for it to be filmed, so...
Yeah, absolutely. I film. Every cannonball I do is filmed. Yeah.
And we have an archive of them going back in through the years.
No.
All in the BS archive.
Not a good swimmer. It's always life-threatening if I jump into a pool.
Ah, okay.
No. But I can swim, obviously. You know.
See, no. You're like me, where you do your cannonballs into the deep end of the pool, and then you quickly wade over.
For help.
Or you wade over to where you can stand up and you don't have to worry about swimming. Here comes Ulash once again to the inside.
What a good fight.
This time he was actually a little bit closer to the apex, and I think Robbie turned in maybe a tad early, initiated the contact. Ulas has made the move officially stick, but at this point, with 4 laps to go at the line, these two drivers have got no chance of closing in on those drivers up front unless a battle of all battles starts to enrage.
Yeah, I will prepare a golden pineapple and send it to Ulas. This is, but it's good racing though. So it's at least exciting, but now they both lost any chance for being part of this train. And they could easily have been part of this, but it's the story. Once the drag is gone and you're not part of the train anymore, then it's pretty much lost. Yeah.
And again, it is good racing, right? That's the thing, right? As much as we're like, oh, why is he making the move? But no, it's more because we're like, oh, we could potentially have closed in. Maybe, though, Ulas was trying to make the move because he thought he was faster. Robbie struggling a little bit in that final sector, at least compared to the Porsche. Let's see if Ulas can bridge the gap. As it sits right now, just a reminder, it is Matti Siipala, Jiri Toman, Christopher Dambeats that sit inside of the transfer spots, with Jakob Brzezinski, Dennis Schoneger trying to do some work. Just been told that Dennis Schoneger has been asked to give up a position to Marko Pejic for pushing a car off the track. I don't think that's necessarily going to bring us much closer into the fight, but it's just something to keep in mind. Race control. I'm not sure if, Florian, you've seen anything else from their reviews of the incidents.
Yeah, give me a second. I haven't checked so far, but yeah, just the Dennis give up one position thing. No, and don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Ulas should not overtake or something or try it. But I think for all the guys outside of the top 6, it needs to be the first, let's say, goal to stick together and to not lose the rear of the P6 driver. And this is the thing. And I think it goes too quickly and too early in the race that these guys start fighting for P11, 10, 9, and rather should come up with a plan how to gain the time needed to make it to the P6. But yeah, I know how it is, and I know this is racing and so on. But it's a shame if you see. And this is why I'm saying it. Robbie had a really good start. He was on, I don't know, P7 or what, or P8 minimum, and then even P6 or 7, right? And then you get, I don't know, into the mix of things, and then the fighting continues, and then you can really write off this race after lap 2. And this is a bit boring.
I guess that's the format as well, right? You're trying to design a format with the multi-stages, you're trying to incentivize fighting as well. It's just such a difficult thing to try, and for the drivers as well, they have so many different teams will have different mindsets on how they approach all of the challenges as well. So, something to always keep in mind. We'll have 2 laps to go at the line, but it does seem as though it is Robbie Stapleford that will be done for the first round of the Drivers' Championship, the online part of the Drivers' Championship. It's then over to the Big Red Machine, to Zebra, to see how he will get on. Ibraheem Khan in the final of the knockout races. I don't think that's a good start. Oh, no, never mind. It decided to start coming back for a second, but I think that's a sign of how this race has gone as a whole. The brief technical issue, not necessarily the easiest race for Robbie overall. So one of those days that he'll chalk up, and I'm sure he will kick on in the future. And it's a pretty relentless grind for these drivers at the end of the day. The amount of practice that we're talking about. 3 back-to-back weeks for us, Florian, here on Fridays. Next Friday, we're at Road Atlanta.
Yeah, time flies. I like Road Atlanta, to be honest, but yeah, and then we also race at Spa, I think, yeah, which is Ibra's favorite track, and he had really good results there in the past. So yeah, plenty of more stuff to come, and then yeah, it will be interesting that we're getting closer to the World Cup in August, and we also do a big week of training in at the beginning of July, also with the other BMW teams, but also don't want to say too much about this yet because it will be cool. And yeah, then our Rocket League team is coming over also to the office. They will do a boot camp here and play a tournament from the office. They will meet our drivers. So maybe we do, I don't know, maybe Caique Oliveira and Ferris do a joint Rocket League match with them or something. So yeah, the storytelling goes on, all the stuff that's happening at BS Competition, and yeah, it never stops.
Now, there has been an issue for Dane Warren, who is already, I believe,
He was
disconnected. So that's a position for Robbie that sees him go to 10th. That also now means that Marko Pejic is having to fight with Jakub Brzezinski for a spot inside of the semi-finals. So even though it's closing stages, you know, we'll be optimistic and hope that maybe there's something still to come from this race, whether it's more points at the very least for Robbie. But one more lap to go in this third of the knockout races as we head out of this final couple of corners. Two right-handers with a drag strip off on the left with little grip if you run out wide to work your way through and onto the power, being careful of the rear end. The tires, of course, have taken a decent amount of wear so far. One more lap to go, and Robbie is a good 2.3 or so seconds off the back of the Porsche and Ulas Yildirim.
Yeah, I mean, this is then where the mentality sets in. I mean, obviously you know you don't have any chance, and then you are not, I don't know, pulling out your fastest laps anymore. And yeah, this is what I've said. And this is once more something happens to Dane Warren, and then maybe something else to another driver, and so you have to be in position. And this is why, once again, if this fighting in the midfield starts too early, then all the drivers have no chance anymore that are involved here.
So out of the hairpin one final time. It's one of those races for Robbie Stapleford. Gave his all. Unfortunately, luck was not on his side today, and it's not going to diminish his confidence. That's the thing with these drivers. They know how quick they are. They would have come in with an expectation for where they should have been. They're just going to work that much harder going into the next race to be even more important. It's something that I was talking about with Dr. Nick Molinaro, who works with athletes across of the PGA, MLB, and even some motorsports athletes as well, and high-performing executives in the corporate world. He was talking about confidence. The one thing that he hates commentators say is, oh, that's going to diminish their confidence. No, these are high-performing athletes. They are already confident. What's going to happen after this? They're going to go back to the drawing board and get even stronger from here. Robbie crossed the line, down in 10th. It's the end of the day in Drivers' Championship round number 1 for him.
Yeah, really unlucky. I mean, the qualifying was not great, yes, but then the start was great, the first corners, first lap, and yeah, I think he could have made it. And then the things happened that we saw. Yeah, this is how it is. But what I like about Robbie so much is that he never gives up. I mean, he's even if qualifying was bad, he's there and he's ready to fight and gets the start together. And then, yeah, and then you need the luck to not getting touched or whatever. But this time it wasn't on our side.
Yeah, we'll have a chat with Robbie. I'm sure it will be probably a quick chat. We won't hold him for too long, and we'll get him off to go off and look at the data, maybe talk to the rest of his team. And again, at the end of the day, as much as this is quote-unquote Drivers' Championship, Caique, I think, said it best. We're still looking at this as a team endeavor, right? All of these drivers are, and so they'll go out there, support, and help as best as they can as they continue to push on forward. Let's have a chat quickly with Robbie and catch up with him. Robbie, it was a difficult one. Qualifying, I know, maybe not going entirely according to plan, but you had a rocket of a start initially until you got to the final corner. Talk us through that opening lap.
Yeah, well, we've obviously been practicing rolling starts throughout the week, and I found it really good, and I found a way to sort of jump it but not jump it and get an advantage sort of thing, but stay within in the game's rules. So I got a good jump, tried to go around the outside of the G2 car, but it got closed, so I had to back off a bit going into turn 1, and then went around the outside of them all at T2, kept the line, pushed the G2 car by two what were on the right battling, and then going into the hairpin I got the gap, went for it, and then yeah, we got to the end of the lap, and apparently according to race control it was glue, but hey, I ended up on the grass, and yeah, race pretty much over after that.
And like you say, race pretty much over. Let's talk though about Drivers' Championship as a whole. We kind of touched on it with both Ferris and Caique as well, but this is a really unique format, right? In that the road to the Esports World Cup, a lot of focus is placed on the Team Championship, and most of the racing at the World Cup is the Team Championship. But only half the drivers have a chance to race in the Drivers' Championship in the EWC. Only the top 9 are locked in. So it's a really difficult thing to try and work your way through with 3 back-to-back online rounds.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the goal is to be the top 9, instantly qualify. But I think after today, and the goal for me will be just to make it to the second chance, the top 21, I think it is, or whatever. So full push for Road Atlanta and Spa, and hopefully we get that extra time and the second chance on the rig, ready for full send in the teams and bring some prize money home.
We'll let you go, Robbie. Go and digest the data and everything. Go and improve going into Road Atlanta, where you'll be back in action and ready to go even better in this Drivers' Championship.
Cheers.
Well, we've got a couple of minutes before we're ready for qualifying for the final of our knockout races here. We've been flying through all of the action so far on our BS Competition team stream. Don't go anywhere. Arjuna Kankipati here alongside of Florian Haasper, and we'll be back with knockout race 4 and the Zebra Ibraheem Khan ready to go racing in just a few moments' time. Well, welcome back along to ESL R1's online Drivers' Championship rounds, the first of 3 here at the Hockenheim ring with Arjuna Kankipati alongside of Florian and Haasper. We're watching, well, I don't know if that is Ibraheem Khan. Allegedly, that is Zebra as he powers his way out of turn 2 on his qualifying lap.
What a camera is this? What
wonderful camera placement, right, Florian?
Yeah, this is what I tell the drivers. Let's be the most professional on the grid.
We'll get that fixed at some point. But
I mean, something must have happened. Maybe he had fixed it with, I don't know, blue tack or...
with Jaffa Cakes, that's what he used to stand it up.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, or with big red chewing gum.
They've degraded in structural integrity, but looking forward to chatting with him at some point.
Sorry for talking on you. We should do a cooperation with Big Red. Big Red, just for Ibra.
To be fair, like that is where I think, like, I look at I watch a lot of IndyCar, and you know, every team, every car has got a different sponsor, but all the designs are totally different as well. Whereas, like, you know, there should be you want the design of the car to stay the same, but the elements to change. So, like, the Big Red machine, the Big Red sponsored car, the Jaffa Cake sponsored car is obviously Robbie's car. BS Turner is the BS Turner machine. So, like, yeah, we've got natural marketing and activation places for drivers. So there we go. There's a business case to be made. Ibraheem Khan makes his way across the line, and it's down in 5th for him. Pretty sure there was a slowdown at some point, unfortunately, that sees him down the back. So unfortunately, this is definitely not going to be a super replay.
No, slow down. He was not very confident going into the round, to be honest. Oh, no, he's looking down.
Oh, now the cameras aren't synced up, unfortunately. So we get the super replay of Ibraheem looking at his phone.
Oh no, this is fitting the lap.
It's quite fitting indeed for the lap, actually. So we'll say that one comes out of the final corner. We'll get confirmation that you see the red mark as well. Do believe that indicates the slowdown at turn 1 for him. So maybe not a surprise after we heard from both Caique and Ferris that they were pushing hard in Q laps, and Caique saying that this is maybe even more dangerous than Monza for the track limit. So Ibra's going to start from the back. Florian, some work for him to do, but we've seen that Robbie can have some good starts. We just need to see if the same can be repeated by Zebra.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the repetition all the time. I mean, a slowdown in quali, then you have a big chase ahead of you. Yeah. But you know, I'm always confident. Ibra can race, needs a good start. Hopefully, he can apply the same that Robbie did when he said, okay, they were practicing the rolling starts and found something to get it done correctly and to gain some time at the very beginning. So hopefully, he can make the same work.
Yep, exactly. Once again, we have a driver into the 36s, though, so that's Max Benneker. Officially into the 36s this time, not with the 36.000 like we saw the magic time from Luke Bennett. So Schmiedel, Ellis Jr., Maciejewski, De Jong to follow after Mikhail Bykov. Not sure if any of them have also trended towards a slowdown. One thing to remember, even if you do get a slowdown, you're still competing against the others that may end up getting slowdown. So if Ibra, you know, finds himself maybe one place in front, that could be slightly better come the start. Some small things to be thinking about, as much as you don't necessarily want to be focused on them. Here comes the Porsche Kawanda driver out of the final sector onto the brakes. This is where the Porsche's balance might actually stand it in quite good stead relative to a front-engine machine like a BMW. And so De Jong looks over at the line at the time, and it puts him up to second with a 37.085. So once again, small margins in qualifying. See where the other 3 drivers go, but it does seem as though Ibra going to be on that back row, some work to do like we've mentioned. We know just how aggressive and feisty that he can be. Qualifying is only one component of things. And they have fixed setups as well, Florian. It's something that I don't know how much we end up talking about, but the driver can't go and work on the car to make it more comfortable, to make it faster. Instead, they're always trying to adjust their own driving.
Yeah, and then, the series runs BOP tests to get as much data as possible to get the cars together. And it works. I think the BOP looks good here. Well, I haven't studied all the data yet, but we've been W's on pole, then the Porsches are close and so on. So I think looks decent. Although you know my opinion, I hate BOP. Yeah, this is something that I think we should get rid of at some point. But not today.
Yeah, we have had this conversation plenty about BOP, and it's how it needs to work in the world of sim racing as well. The drivers all are part of the BOP process here with ESL R1 and the team at Rennsport involved, so they are a part of the process. Here comes the final driver to the line, so the qualifying session officially going to be wrapped to a close, and so confirmation that Ibra, as the only driver with a slowdown, is going to be starting down at the back. There's the pole sitter Max Benneker in a BMW. The comment in the chat, by the way, 10 out of 10 from Yuri Kastor. This is the angle for paying viewers.
It's the OnlyFans version.
We've moved away from the leg. Now we've got a bit more torso, I think.
Yeah, and it's what the users pay for, they get. Yeah.
Yes, this is why you should be subscribed to the BS Competition Twitch channel, so that you get
cannonballs, best cannonball, and all that.
All the good stuff, yes, that you get treated to. We'll have a short break, by the way, between this and the next race. So knockout 4, bit of a break between us then and semi-final 1, where we do, of course, have Caique Oliveira already getting geared up to go. If Ibraheem Khan makes it into the semi-finals, he would race in semi-final 2, so he would also have that brief break to go and step away from his rig if he wants to, gets the chance to watch semi-final 1 before he goes for semi-final number 2. And of course, if he unfortunately does not make it, we will still be cheering on Caique Oliveira with our full Zebra support in the first semi-final when it gets underway. I do like this angle for one reason, and one reason in particular, Florian, which is
headless Ibra.
Not because of that, just to be clear. It's not because we don't get to see Ibra's face. It's because you get to see the body moving around in sim rigs. We often talk about how much, physical intensity there is with the brake pedal, with the wheelbases. You can see how much that, some of these drivers, they work on their physical fitness as well. So when they stamp on that brake pedal, 60, 70 kilos regularly, it's not really an issue for them in their long sim racing sessions.
And you can enjoy the definition of Ibra's left arm in the muscles. It's amazing. This
more defined than mine, that's for sure. Although a twig has more definition than me. Here we go, off and away. How nervous are you right now, Florian, given, what we've seen in terms of the start? I think it's, I don't want to say all or nothing, but the start very much sets up the rest of the race.
Yeah, it is all or nothing. And obviously you also hope for some kerfuffles further down the road. And let's see. It can happen anytime, but most likely nothing will happen, and then you are stuck into, where you are. And Ibra is a fighter. Let's see.
Remember, Robbie Stapleford started on the outside in his respective knockout race, had a decent initial lap before he got pushed and is involved in an incident that saw him run out wide. Ibra with a very tidy start. He's on the long way around, already past 1, already past 2. Hopefully not going to pick up a cut course penalty or warning for that, as he's already up to 10th position, past Bykov, past Kazabon. You can see poor middle of the track for a couple of drivers, and then either side, the two that Ibra had passed, suddenly right back on the offense as out through turn 3 they sweep onto the power. And which way do you defend? That's more the question for those in front. Ibra's going to be thinking, where can I go based on where everyone else places themselves? If they go inside, I go outside, and vice versa. He'll go deep on the brakes, that's for sure, but not really looking offensive.
I mean,
big set from behind.
Yeah, this is what I mean. I mean, if it means naturally, if you are P12, then you start sending it like me in the Monster. I don't know. I don't like it. And now you see what happens. The gap is there. Arrivederci.
Arrivederci, yes, but 3 wide out through the arena. I think once again there's a breakaway, albeit this time with just 2. So Beneke and Ellis Jr., I think the 2 at the front that have been able to hold on. Jeffrey Rietveld, Mitchell de Jong, James Baldwin, Daniel Pastor, and then Mikkel Schmiedel, along with Isaac Price, Jakub Maciejewski, all still running in front of Ibra. As out in through the final sector, all that battling has brought Ibra in. He'll be on the inside of Isaac Price. He'll get the move done on Isaac Price. He slams the door shut on the G2 Porsche. Maciejewski now, next target in 8th position. 3 spots gained on the opening lap, and all of those cars in front rather, to try and make his target.
Yeah, and it looks like they are also, they keep fighting, and there's something going on. So this is good, because only then you have a chance to close any gap if people are losing time, because the level is so equal that it's so hard to do it from your own raw pace. Yeah, so you need the fights, but they're happening at the front. So nothing is lost.
Nothing lost. That's the most important thing. He's kept himself in contention. 9 laps to go. To the hairpin for the second time of asking, which way is he going to go? You've got to be careful when you make your way into such a precarious passing opportunity that you don't open yourself up for offense from behind as well. And so that's why in some ways Ibra runs the middle of the track. Maciejewski on the outside, going to get a decent run, going to drag race with Daniel Pastor down to the arena. This for 7th and 8th positions in front. So these are not drivers actually fighting inside of the top 6, but they are fighting just in front of them. So plenty still going on here. And as they're continuing to run side by side, look at Isaac Price directly behind Ibra and trying to put the pressure on himself.
Yeah, when I see Isaac in the rear mirror, then I get scared. Not in a critical way, but he is fighting. He is always at the edge, and he will make your life hard. And look at this. Yeah, he sees his chance. He goes there. So he will never just settle in for 1 or 2 laps. He wants the position. Oh, now he hits him. Thank you. Maybe sometimes hit the brakes, Isaac. Okay, good. So
I wonder what race control is going to think of that one, though. It could be something where, they say that maybe Ibra gives up a position for the bit of contact that forces Isaac off wide. Something to keep in mind. We're only on the 2nd lap of 10, and it is, as mentioned, Beneke and Ellis Jr. that have broken away 1st and 2nd. So it's Mitchell de Jong, it's Jeffrey Rietveld, James Baldwin, Mikkel Schmiedel, Jakub Maciejewski, Daniel Pastor, Ibraheem Khan. These are all drivers fighting to try and get up into the top 6 to make it forward to semi-final 2. They'll head to the hairpin one more time, and Ibra's got a bit more of a gap in front, which I actually think on this lap is a good thing. He'll let them fight in front. He'll now have to try and close the margin, though, to be in, again, a position to make the move at the end.
Yeah, I'm just a bit scared about... No, Ibra overshoots it, but... Yeah, I'm just a bit scared about the Isaac situation, because I know Isaac now, it's maybe 1 or 2 laps of silence, and then he will be there. And then they too have to decide, do we fight now for P9 until the end of the race? Okay, this is fun. Or is there still a bit of belief in them that they can still make it? And again, the same question as before.
So, as... I think Isaac is also worried a bit about Mikhail Baikov. The margin between them relatively close for 10th and 11th positions. It's that up and down, looking through your mirrors and your relatives to try and figure out who you should be focused on, and hoping no cannonball off into the hairpin or any of the other corners this time around. So it's 6th position currently for... I think that's Mikkel Schmiedel in the Porsche, Pastor Maciejewski in the Mercedes, and Audi's directly behind. Yeah, we don't like to talk too much about BOP and focus on it, but we've seen all the different cars be fast at different points in the day so far, and so it's a good sign to see. Onto the brakes. Look how Ibra closes once more, and this time doesn't go too deep like he did at the hairpin at the middle of the last lap. This is much better for him to continue to be in the green on that delta, which is in the middle of the screen, as we continue to get a great look at his arms and legs as he works around the track.
Maybe it's not even Ibra. Maybe it's another guy. No, there we go. Okay.
A little bit deep.
Yeah. I mean, this is now self-inflicted if you want, and now, okay, then Isaac has all the right to fight. But now, don't hit him. Yeah, he doesn't hit him. Good. The other guys are fighting. Good.
these margins are so fine as well. I think Isaac might be in a position here where he'll have the inside for the next 2 corners, might have a chance to hold on to this. Maciejewski and Daniel Pasztor not switching around in front of this little battle as well, but it separated them off from 5th, 6th positions where they really wanted to be. Price has been bowled around the outside once before. Can he make it stick this time around? No, and there's a bit more contact as well, and maybe a bit more for race control to take a look at.
I don't know. I think this was, in the end, this is also something to say about Isaac. I think he always allows for fair racing, and it's very tough, very hard. But I have more trust in him than in all the dive bombers that come from 500 meters behind. Yeah, so like I jump into the pool in Riyadh for cannonball.
No, exactly. Yes, it's not the Florian into the pool. It's a swan diver, or Olympic diver, making sure they have as little a splash as possible. I do like though that the one thing with Isaac is you got to say he's recognized that's clearly a place where his car is quite quick, and so he went for the move again, maybe just not sticking it in the way that he would have expected. BSCOMPETITION is closed in the Mercedes as well, so as much as Ibra's in the green on the Delta, he's also looking in the rearview mirror slightly. So that is suboptimal, as Lewis McLeod will say on the broadcast, by the way, with Ewan O'Leary. So I'm sure they're having a ball together, and George Morgan will be back with them for the next round of the Drivers' Championship at Road Atlanta, I believe.
So where's George? Is he GT Open real world commentary or
Formula Regional? FRECA. I know it as the acronym, not as the full series name, unfortunately. FRECA.
FRECA? Never heard.
That's what he's off and commentating on, is George Morgan. And, well...
So it's I don't know. So every real-world race is... if any real-world race is calling George, he's there, not here.
Well, I mean, of all the tracks to miss, I'm just saying, we've got Road Atlanta and Spa coming up. I love Road Atlanta, as much as I sometimes moan about passing opportunities with GT3 cars. It's one of my favorite tracks, one of my favorite special events, the Petit Le Mans on iRacing. I love it. It's one of my favorite. And Spa, it does, with the way that we've seen the racing, if I was going to have to miss a round, Florian, I think this would be the one I miss. Unfortunately, I'm going to miss Spa if I get approved for a UK visa, which is still a very big if. So, either I'm in the UK and enjoying myself and feeling sad that I'm missing out on Spa, Florian, or I'm feeling sad that I'm not in the UK. But I get to be here with you, so that doesn't sound so bad.
Yeah, but then you won't commentate, and you're slightly depressed, and I have to do all the talking. So no, I hope you get your visa, and then we find a way what we do here then.
Oh, we'll get Dara back, Dara Thacker, who had his fun with Robbie Foley when I was on holiday in Indy watching the 500. That, by the way, just for the record, any sim racing event organizer, there is one weekend a year that should be off limits. It's the weekend where we have the Indy 500, the Coke 600, and the Monaco Grand Prix all on the same weekend. Let people go and watch motorsports. Let's not try and put sim racing on the weekend as well. That includes the Friday before it. Just a personal plea, so I can keep going to Indy every year. And Florian, next year, can I get you to come to Indy with me?
Oh, I would love so. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. First, let's run the VCO IndyCar Challenge and get some great Indy racing. Then the official IndyCar series, also done with iRacing and all this, and then I will be an IndyCar expert and have a good time with you.
Let's do it. It's the best race in the world, and it's so special being there with 350,000 people, even when it's pouring with rain and it's a slightly miserable experience. Ibra having a slightly miserable experience right now, though. Mikhail Bykov has got a 3-second penalty for contact, so not a surprise, I think, from the opening lap in some ways, but Isaac Price is now back in 10th. They're fighting behind, in fact, so Bykov and Price going back and forth. 3 to go at the line. Ibra's not far away from Maciejewski and Pasztor, but by no means is there really a fight right now for that 6th transfer position. Everyone's single file, so he's doing everything he can. He's pushing that BMW and urging it on as to every little bit that it can try and give him. But as it stands right now, only Caique Oliveira in the semi-final on this first round of the Drivers' Championship. It's such a competitive sim racing field that we've talked about, and the goal for these drivers, top 21. Top 9 locks you, yes, into the Esports World Cup. But Florian, as long as you're inside of that second chance race, you've got a chance to fight for the Drivers' Championship.
Yeah, exactly. And this is what I've said. You have to survive the quarterfinal. Caique did. So I would say the first mission is accomplished. Obviously, he wants more, because I think once more he can look at the top 10 realistically, in my opinion, and the other 3 guys also, yeah. But we have to get it together and need a bit of luck at the starts, blah blah, everything that we said. So it's far from over. I think you can still have two more rounds and races, and then we will see where we are. But because the good thing on the other hand is that every other driver also will have a round that is a bit weaker, or where he runs into trouble and so on. So no reason to give up, for even if Ibra now doesn't make it, and for the other 2 guys as well. By the way, Ferris lap in qualifying on all of the other quarterfinals, it would have been a, I don't know, P3 or even better grid position, and he really had a very strong grid, and yeah, this also plays into the equation to see with which other drivers you get paired for the quarterfinals, and then even if you are quick, then it by some external factors, namely the other drivers, it's not enough here. So yeah, this is the name of the game. You cannot really plan this. You have to have this right mix of pace, luck, and whatever.
Yeah, it's a tough format at the end of the day. It really requires the drivers to, again, high-performance athletes, and they're not trying to win every single race, because at the end of the day, only one person in a field of 12 can win. They just need to do exactly what they need to achieve the goals, the targets, and on their mission to succeed in the ways they want to be able to do so. We'll have one more lap at the line as we work once again on that long run up towards the hairpin. Go up through the gears, get ready to get onto the brakes. I think Daniel Pastro might be in a position where he can put a little bit more pressure onto the back of Mikel Schmiedel. Maciejewski dropping off slightly in his Audi into the slight clutches of Ibraheem Khan, but you can see side by side for a moment as Ibra goes very, very deep into the braking zone. Costs him a bit of time. You can see that on the Delta. He's in the red. Green is good. Red, not so good, unfortunately. One more lap to go. Continued fighting, though. It gives you the optimism, gives you something to push for, and that's why Ibra made the mistake for him, because he's pushing, trying to close in with every little thing that he can.
Yeah, I mean, he's seeing P6, and he knows that the attack will come by Daniel Pastor, probably. So this is what we always talk about. You have to stay in the position that if something happens, then that you can benefit. And I don't know, maybe there are a few corners left. Maybe something happens here, but probably not. But still, he was fighting until the last lap, which is good.
It's going to all be about up to the hairpin, up to that heavy braking zone. What happens here? It's Ellis Jr. and Benek up front that have broken away, of course. De Jong and Rietveld now comfortable, because James Baldwin leads Mikel Schmiedel in 5th and 6th positions, with Pastor in the Williams car behind. Maciejewski leading Khan onto the final lap of the final knockout race in the first round of the Drivers' Championship. They'll get onto the brakes. Maybe not too deep this time for Ibra. Get close to that inside curb, rotate that car around, get onto the power as progressively and smoothly as possible, and now hope and wait to see if they go 2, maybe 3 wide in front of him. Remember, 5th and 6th positions work forward, so it's really Daniel Pastor in that 3-car tandem, 5th, 6th, and 7th, that's most likely to want to go aggressive. Don't think that Mikel Schmiedel will want to try and force the issue if he doesn't have to, and so out of the hairpin, they stay single file for the time being, and so no chaos to come across just yet. Daniel Pastor has got a couple more corners to try and make something happen here, but ultimately, it's the qualifying that really set the tempo and the stage for Ibraheem Khan. Slightly pegged back by the off-track at turn number 1. That saw him have to serve a slowdown penalty. Made some bold moves in the early laps, got involved in some contact as well. but with race control not intervening too much, unable to make too much headway in this closing stages. And so as those up front continue to break away, pressure piled on to those just inside of the top 6. Ibraheem Khan's going to come out of the final corner, and in the 4th knockout round in the big red machine, finds himself down in 9th position and done here at the Hockenheim ring. The opening round of the Drivers' Championship. Not the best of days by any means for him, but we'll see him at Road Atlanta in a week's time ready to go. It's now all eyes on Caique Oliveira, the sole BS Zebra, making it out of the knockout rounds into semi-finals, Florian.
Yeah, which is the positive thing. I think there are also a few positives if you look at what the other drivers did. Ultimately, yeah, not our day really. Too many smaller things that didn't work out. 2 of our drivers had the slowdowns in the quali, which is then a big challenge and hard to overcome. Yeah. So, but still, fighting till the end is always good. The pace was there, and yeah. So nothing lost for the rest of this driver championship.
Absolutely, and I think Ibraheem Khan's going to fix his webcam before we have a chat with him, and looking forward to that in a few moments' time. We'll get the first semi-final underway in about 20 or 30 minutes time, so just something to recognize. We got a bit of a break, as mentioned, coming up before we are racing once again. Arjuna Kankipati alongside of Florian Haasper, and I do believe that we have Ibraheem Khan here and ready to chat with us. So let's go chat with the driver of the big red machine. Ibra, talk us through, well, that race. I know qualifying was tough, but you gave it your all in trying to make your way into the semi-finals.
Yeah, it was one of them ones where, like, I know I have to commit. I felt really confident, like in the laps before, they were like consistent 0.9s. So I was like, I knew I just hit my marks. I will get up there. But unfortunately, it's just one of those things where you're maybe not quite confident in T1, because that's the place where it's very easy to cut. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna send it to really go for it, because it is the drivers. You really need to be up there. But yeah, it just was a slowdown, which is really unfortunate. I knew the pace was really good around here. And then it came to the race. It was a case of just getting stuck with people that wanted to fight rather than thinking about the race. So yeah, I was fighting with Isaac for like a little while. He was banging me, I was banging him, and yeah, that was that. And then yeah, I made a few mistakes, went wide a few times, which kind of cost me really fighting for like P8, P7, P6. But at the end of the day, I don't think, unless I think a perfect race execution, P6 would have been quite tough. But it's all from qualifying and something to take into the next rounds.
Yeah, it didn't seem as though it was very easy to carve your way forward from the back up into 6 as much as you were trying. So let's talk about, I guess, some more positives, right? We've got Road Atlanta and Spa still left to come, where I think there's still very much a chance of getting yourself up into the top 21 in the Drivers' Championship, right? So how are you still feeling going off into Road Atlanta in a week's time?
Yeah, Road Atlanta should be... I didn't feel too confident into Hockenheim, and I was pleasantly surprised the pace was not bad here. And Road Atlanta is one where I lack a little bit, and then Spa is one I'm usually quite on pace. So yeah, it should be alright. Road Atlanta, it's got less of that bogey turn 1, less of these bogey, that bogey track limit. It's the hardest to get right. And Road Atlanta is usually quite a smooth flowing track where you can get into a real rhythm. And the same with Spa. This track was a really hard one to drive on autopilot, like for me with the turn 1 cut, but. Yeah, I think I'm still looking towards the top 21. I think a lot of people had rough rounds that should have been in the top 6. So, yeah, I think I'm quite looking forward to the next couple of weeks.
Plenty to look forward to in the next couple of weeks. Ibra, thanks for stopping and having a quick chat with us, and we'll see you next week for round 2 of this Drivers' Championship.
Thank you.
Great to catch up with the driver of the big red machine, and now we do, as mentioned, have a bit of a break between us. Finishing up that 4th knockout race and going racing in semi-final number 1. It's a chance to maybe open up a Z-Brew. Is that what we're doing, Florian, in the next 20-30 minutes?
Definitely not on stream, but maybe in a private corner in my office.
What about Sunset? Can we break out the Sunsets?
Sunset, everything is here. So we just need the big red chewing gum, and then we are sorted. No, but Z-Brew is back in stock. Watch this place over the next weeks. We will do some giveaways, so you can taste it. To be honest, and I'm a heavy beer drinker sometimes in my past. and this is really one of the good ones. And so I'm proud that our team has such a great drink.
Nice.
For partying.
I'm looking forward to my care package so I can try it out as well. Doesn't sound like I'm going to have one in the break that we've got coming up now, but I've got my own snacks ready to go. We'll be back with action from semi-final number 1 as Caique Oliveira gets ready to go in the first round of this Drivers' Championship from the Hockenheim ring. We'll be right back. Well, hello everyone and welcome back to the BS Competition ESL R1 team stream. Arjuna Kankipati alongside of Florian Haasper as we get ready to go and see Caique Oliveira in semi-final number 1. Unfortunately, Robbie Stapleford, Ibraheem Khan and Ferris Stanley eliminated in their respective knockout races, but Caique Oliveira still has a chance to make his way to the final and continue to rack up points in this Drivers' Championship. And it's been at a track, Florian, the Hockenheim ring, where passing has been difficult at the end of the day. And so, you know, we've just had a little bit of a break. The drivers have had a chance to go off and relax and recharge for the racing that lies ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Caique is recharging in the dark sim racing room we have in the office. I had a chat with his girlfriend and she's confident. Well, she always is. She's a very nice girl and yeah, totally into sim racing and into Caique's career. So it's really good to see this side of sim racing, like a partner supporting 100% and so on. So this is also a new experience for us. So yeah, I think Caique is prepared. I mean, he's cold as a cucumber, or what the British saying is, and no, I think we're in for a good one with all the restrictions that ESL R1 has. Like, anything can happen. If there's a tiny mistake, you are probably gone, but Caique is the one to make it happen for us today.
Yep, qualifying I think has just gotten underway. I'm not sure who the first drivers are out on track, but they go out one by one in this hyperpole sort of a format. There is the mouse machine working its way through the opening corners. Can't quite tell who that is. It might be Benica. Excuse me, it's Moritz Lohner in the number 20. You can see the names on the left who will all be competing. There's, I see 2 Porsche Cowandas, 2 Red Lines, 2 Mouse Machines, but then no other teammates. So everyone else basically fighting for themselves. They are fighting for themselves in terms of Drivers' Championship anyway, but always nice to have a helping hand. And it'll be interesting to see how they all work their way through this qualifying session, hopefully, of course, with a limited number of slowdowns, especially knowing that at turn 1, it can be very, very easy to pick them up. 23.95, first sector for Moritz Lohner as he works his way now in the arena section. Car looking very, very stable so far.
Yeah, I like the car, to be honest. I like Mouse. I'm totally honest. Decent driver, well, not decent drivers. You know, this is my lack of English skills. Really good drivers, but also good people behind it. Fair drivers, and yeah, I really like René Lante as well. I mean, before Mouse had entered sim racing, I wasn't aware of the team properly, to be honest. And but now I also met René, and he's a top-notch esports professional. And yeah, and it's so good to see that he built this team, or this sim racing branch of this team. And yeah, it's good that they are with us in the BMW family. But now, Caique Oliveira time.
Absolutely. And by the way, René versus Florian, we want it in our team managers competitions in the Mazdas. Into turn 2, nice and tight to the inside curb was Caique, but what's it going to be as he rolls his way towards the hairpin in terms of first sector time? It's 23.90, I believe, so I don't know if he's too happy with it, but it's not a bad first sector. For context, Marcel Chinchik, who's now in 3rd in qualifying, albeit not far off of provisional pole, and Moritz Lohner, 59 thousandths, did a 24-something, so not far off. It's now just about keeping the tires underneath him all the way around the lap as he works out of the hairpin nice and tidily. You could see just how progressive the application onto the throttle was, and the launch off the corner ended up being as well. Now, into this middle sector, kind of want to be into the low 46s to really set a good and flying lap time. What's it going to be as he heads out of the first right-hander? Just one more sector left to go. It's at 46.3, so he's basically on the money to put himself in contention to be up towards the front. Uses all of the track on the left-hand side, just avoids the gravel. He'll make his way now in through this penultimate couple of corners where got to be careful about where you use the curbs, how much it rotates the car as you sometimes bottom it out, but very settled. This has been a very, very good lap. It's one of those laps where it's not looked especially quote-unquote quick because it's been in control. What's it going to be for Caique? Puts him 3rd behind Lohner and Charlie Collins, but we're talking hundreds and thousands between those at the very top.
Yeah, I think it will get him into a position where he can fight, yeah. who is left? It's Enzo, it's Josh. Okay, difficult. Sebastian, difficult. Thomas. Yeah, let's see.
And you've got Luke Bennett, who of course did his magic 136.0 in his qualifying for the knockout race. So that was something that we very much enjoyed having a bit of a josh about. This is the super replay. This is going to be a good one. 37.090 for Collins. So he's 10 thousandths quicker than Moritz Lohner. Caique Oliveira is going to wrangle the Caipirinha machine out of the final corner, make his way over to the line and set the time to go up to third, and officially puts themselves 31 thousandths behind Moritz Lohner. So now we'll find out the rest of the field. Benito first in the Porsche, and then another Porsche to follow in the form of Josh Rogers, the FaZe Clan entry. Nice and tidily initially through the left-hander before he now gets back onto the power, tries to set up with the rear end sliding around on him a little bit through the second to last corner. Just that long right-hander to come. Caique used a lot of the runoff as well on his dash to the line, I did notice. Maybe a little less for Benito, who jumps his way to pole. Whoa, what a lap. 137.030. There's time out there. So Oliveira to fourth, and with 5 drivers still left to go, King of Qualifying up next, who's apparently already set his lap time so quickly that we no longer get to look at him moving around in the webcam. Those sector times indicate and trend relatively decently as well. If this final sector's good, if it matches what Benito was able to do, it could be another pole position for Rogers. He struggled in qualifying in the knockout. He can only go to second, bumps Oliveira down to fifth.
Yeah, what a lap by Enzo. I mean, I wanted to say send this man a team shirt, but he doesn't need it. He's also quick in the wonderful brown unbranded stuff.
Of course on loan, I guess, from Team Redline for FaZe this season. Here comes, well, one of their main drivers, Sebastian Job, heads out of the final corner. New haircut, where does it put him? That middle sector was very good. Go second. Oliveira now on the bubble, in real danger, you'd have to think, with Luke Bennett, who was pole in his respective knockout race, getting his way through that final sector. Now, that middle and first sector trending a little bit closer, I think, to Oliveira than I think to the likes of Enzo Benito, but it's all about the magic in the final sector. What have you done with the tires underneath you as you get onto the power one final time? Bennett's not happy with himself in terms of times. Oh, he's all the way down at the tail end of the field, so that's a real disappointment. The field split by less than 0.2 of a second. Tumas Tatala, we think, has a slowdown penalty.
Absolutely, yeah.
Just Jamie Fluke in that first sector, I think, means that he'll be behind Oliveira as well. So Caique could be in 6th position on the start.
This would be great. And then we see how Caique, or we know how Caique has tackled the past races. So it was always a thing of rather moving forward and not backwards. So really encouraging.
This is an exciting session, that is for sure. As all done and dusted, Jamie Fluke indeed towards the tail end. Now the only concern that's springing to my mind is the fact that we saw what happened to Ferris Stanley when he started his respective knockout race in sixth position on the outside. It is one of those places where you're going to be elbows out. You want to make sure you don't lose out too much, and you're in the danger zone, as Townsend Bell would say. There's a look at the pole sitter, Enzo Benito, flying in his FaZe Porsche, but importantly for us, Caique Oliveira, 6th position. What can he do? Can he potentially advance to a final? There's our man himself, and now we look at him getting ready in the 60 seconds left in the practice session, Florian. So one final chance for him to get dialed in and ready to go. He's already been pretty dialed in so far today, to be honest, so not quite sure what more we really need him to do.
I think it's interesting to analyze the grid situation. Yeah, I mean, you have Chinchik and you have Bennett behind Caique, so they will definitely start fighting because they want to move forward and they have the pace to be in the top 6. Then at the top you have 2 Porsche Quanda guys next to each other, so probably they won't fight each other. Then you have Sebastian against Enzo. I mean, 2 Redline affiliated guys, so they will also be careful with each other. So interesting from the static of the grid. So as you said, Caique is in the danger zone, but as an optimist, I rather say, okay, he's the one who can maybe punch first at the start and then try to get into these top 4 to cause a bit of a stir in this top group and then settle in. Yeah? But this is my wishful thinking. You know, I'm just making myself the race storyline up here.
What do you think commentators do?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Allegedly.
I mean, you guys are sometimes commentating 1 hour about something which is not happening on track, you know, like totally different topics,
of course.
which is so cool. Yeah, absolutely. And this was my little attempt to pretend to have the skill, just talking about the race, which has yet not started.
Don't worry, we can do that quite frequently. If you want to talk about colors, Lewis isn't here, but is that yellow? Is it green? Is it blue? He'll get involved in that argument, that is for sure. I just have to be careful if we aren't famous enough to say really dangerous things and not get in trouble like certain commentators in the real world at Le Mans are able to do. Anyway, let's focus in. We have 10 laps, and well, I think nerves for me. Nerves for the man on your screen, Caique Oliveira, because Florian, he starts in 6 positions. A top 6 finish gets him through to the final in this opening round of the Drivers' Championship.
Yeah, and he's surrounded by big dogs, and now we are going, right? Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane, although maybe not when we get actually going racing. It's just the command from race control. Enzo Benito alongside of Sebastian Job on that front row. And away we go for the first semi-final. And watch as the G2 Porsche tries to challenge, although very bold from Caique Oliveira to go the long way around on the Maus BMW, battling with Moritz Lohner and now battling with Josh Rogers into the braking zone of turn 2. We saw Wisniewski run wide behind. There's some leaning. Oh, Oliveira gets pushed wide, might compromise him down into the hairpin. Fortunately, Marcel Chinchik has to lift off the power, but here comes the run down into the heavy braking zone.
Yeah, good start. I mean, gaining 1 position, always crucial. P5 is better than P6. So let's see.
So Audi's going to look to the inside. That's Chinchik. Maybe 3 wide. Got to be careful here if you're Oliveira on the outside. Now 2 for 1. Oh, that's great if you're Marcel Chinchik. Dangerous, though, for Oliveira now with Lohner looking to try and take this chance as well around the outside at the crucial turn 7 potentially for Lohner. We've seen this can work if you're brave, and it's BMW on BMW here. It's the Maus versus BS competition crews, but the Zebra gallops on the outside line, holds on for the time being. A little bit of contact made as Lohner bounces over the inside curve. Marcel Chinchik officially has made the move on Josh Rogers. Oliveira still watching, though, as Lohner tries to make something happen into the final sector. Oliveira officially in 6th spot.
Ooh. Now we're fighting Maus, and yeah, but we have to look further at the front. I think the other guys also fighting. Josh is there. Quite surely he will, yeah, maybe attack Marcel once more. Then also Caique and Josh have a little bit of a history from the team championship where Caique got sort of spun or pushed out by Josh. So let's see how this develops.
And given that Sebastian Job leads, question will be, can he break away? Benito feels the pressure from Collins. Chinchik, I don't want to say feeling the pressure yet from Josh Rogers, given that he's already made the move, but will be interesting to see what the mindset is now that they are both having a bit of a comfortable buffer right now. Look at the margin between Rogers and Oliveira. We're talking a good half a second or so. Lohner a bit too far behind, though, I think, to really try and make a move to the inside, and so single file, they'll stay! Oh, Caique gets a little bit of contact, spins around, also Tuomas Tatila involved, and down to the back, unfortunately, to 11th for Caique Oliveira.
He got hit, right? Did he get a touch?
Absolutely, you saw the wheel. Unfortunately, Caique couldn't really save it too much. It was just a big old contact, and maybe just optimism from those behind, and maybe 3 wide, not working out.
Yeah, speechless.
Oh, disappointing. After the performance in qualifying, the start of the race, to then down at the hairpin get involved in just that little bit of contact. Would be curious to figure out what happened. This, well, it's not a super replay, that is for sure. Moritz Lohner, that's not the car that makes the move. Instead, oh, Tuomas Tatila goes to try to the inside of Lohner. Smallest of touches to the back of Caique Oliveira, and well, end result is both down in 10th and 11th spots.
Yeah, not much to say. To be honest, no, I have to watch my... be careful, but sometimes you come across the same names quite often. And anyway, probably this was definitely not on purpose or whatever. It happens when fighting, but it's now a bitter end to this race situation. Here we see it.
Bam.
It's Thomas.
Yeah, you can see the look as well on Caique's face. I think it tells you all. He was in a great spot, had a great chance of being able to do something with this chance to be in the final. Not just talking top 21 for the Esports World Cup Drivers' Championship showdown, but maybe even top 9 if he was able to consistently get forward into the finals. Slight, back foot now to work off of, but this is racing. And again, it goes back to what I was talking about with high performance athletes, Florian, and sim racers are high performance. Caique, he'll be disappointed, yes. When we go racing at Road Atlanta, he'll have mostly forgotten about this round. He might not have forgotten about this, specific contact and how that all played out, but he'll be putting it aside and just focusing on delivering the result for him and for the team behind him as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's nothing he has to be critical with himself about. He was in a position to make it when he got spun, and but still it's a bit annoying. It's whenever in racing or in sports you are or the fruits of your labor are taken away from you by someone else who is trying to, I don't know, pass 2 for 1. It's not feeling great.
It's why we love it, motorsports, though. The highs and the lows. You hope to have more highs than lows, unfortunately. There can only be one number one, as we still have plenty of laps to finish things off. Focus now will shift for the team behind the scenes as well to next week, where we'll be back here on our Twitch channel and YouTube page as well for round 2 of the Drivers' Championship. Plenty to come in the interim between now and then on the weekend. Not on this particular channel, but you can watch the herd, the BMW M Team BS+ competition racing in the Intercontinental GT Challenge Esports Championship and their 24 hours of Spa. Going to be an exciting race, that is for sure. And of course on Tuesday, the next round of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, live on our Twitch channel with the voice of NASCAR in Germany, Pete Fink, alongside our team manager Alex here at BS Competition. Always fun to be able to follow along with them. And we mentioned Garrett Lowe and Jordi Lopez. Garrett locked into the playoffs already. For Garrett, that win, of course, at Charlotte, being able to lock him in. For Jordi, he's doing really well in points, has had a very, very consistent season, all things considered, Florian. Just because of the win and you're in, needs a bit more luck and maybe a win in these next couple of races to lock himself in for the championship hunt.
Yeah, as you said, he's very consistent. He's always there, and this is what I like about eNASCAR. I mean, even if some things happen during the race, through the cautions, you always have a chance to fight back, and if you put in the right strategy, you can move forward and so on. So no, he's fighting in every race, and he suffered many doses of bad luck over the course of the season already. I have the feeling that he will also make it. And I mean, having 2 drivers in the having Garrett in there is already a dream for our first season, so just amazing that our season will continue after the final regular round. But I have the feeling that we will see the Sunset car as well. I think it's the coolest car on the grid, next to the Marler one, of course, and so it would be a shame not to have this beauty in the playoffs.
We are officially in segment 3, so there's Nashville, Chicago, Indianapolis, and Pocono left for Jordi in terms of that playoff contention, and then there'll be 4 more races: Michigan, Texas, Phoenix, and then the final itself. The final 4 will be racing live in person, of course, from the NASCAR Hall of Fame as they race around the Homestead Miami Speedway. There's a long way to go, though, between us and October 1st. Garrett Lowe has competed in the top 4 before, so fingers crossed. He knows what that experience is like to be under the lights and under that pressure as well. Jordi very much deserves to be in that same situation. We have 5 more laps to go, though, here in semi-final number 1. Caique sits on 2.5 seconds in front of Tuomas Tatala, well clear of Nikitin Wisniewski in front. Unfortunately, he was 4 seconds in front of us in 10th position. So 5 laps, unfortunately, for Caique just to work his way around and to bring today's action to an end. But again, so much more to look forward to for the Zebras. And they're qualifying actually today, aren't they, for tomorrow's 24 Hours of Spa, Florian, if I remember correctly?
Oh, yeah, true. Yep. I will check after the stream where we stand. But yeah.
Who's the drivers racing tomorrow? Give us a preview. Do you know?
It is.
Top of your head.
Yeah, it is Niels, it is Arthur Kamra, it is Gregor Schill, and Filippa Bukida.
Oh, what a lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is why sometimes, I know they deserve better than a P10 or something, so they can fight for podiums and so on. And whenever this is not possible, then I'm getting a bit skeptical. But we will see. It's a long race. Spa is a great track, and we've won the iRacing 24 Hours Spa last year. Hopefully we do this year. So this is a track we like.
Forgive me, I might not bring that one up on the broadcast tomorrow. The BS competition team was the best BMW, though, in the first round from Suzuka, the 3-hour race that they had there, which did also include the restart at the beginning that slightly, I'm sure, it's unsettled and changed the plan for the teams and drivers. So, we'll see how it goes. They've had some success at this race in the past as well. See what the weather is going to do as well, given 24 hours in the Ardennes, especially on a set of Corsa Competizione. No guarantee of sunshine to the very end. Caique looking over, I think, at where the rest of the cars are, just seeing if there is going to be a little bit of a potential to try and fight for some more points, but at least it seems for the time being navigates his way around with no real chance just yet, unless the likes of Collins, Chinchik, Rogers, Lohner, maybe Jamie Fluke or Luke Bennett start to go on the offense, because Sebastian Joe's built up a gap up front. 6th and 7th are also split by just under a second, but not an inconsiderable amount of car lengths between them separates them, so no move's going to be really easily made. It's been around where passing's possible, just got to really work hard, and passing cleanly may be harder than we're making it sound. Road Atlanta, a lot tighter and twistier. That's going to be chaotic as well. It was interesting talking to Ibraheem Khan, Florian, who was saying that, he's excited about Spa, a track that traditionally he goes well at, and maybe more importantly, a track where, every single lap, you can basically spend the entire lap side by side.
Yeah. I mean, I remember Ibra last season, I think he had a podium there even, or he qualified 3rd, so really high up. And he always says, yeah, this is his favorite track in this. Yeah, but to be honest, the same goes as for every round. It's crunch time in qualifying. The guy who got it together in both qualifyings really was Caique for us, and then you see what's possible, and that you can fight for the final thing if you're not taken out. Yeah, so. But I'm looking forward to both Road Atlanta and Spa, and I think it will be sort of a reset after this rather difficult round now.
Yes, exactly. We had the week off between the Team Championship and the Drivers' Championship. I think in this regard, they might want to jump back onto track as quickly as possible. We'll have 2 laps left to go at the line. Florian, you mentioned as well, so many different things that the team is involved in, different simulators in the sim racing world, but also, the Rocket League, the Trackmania involvement as well. I've got to ask, what's one thing... I talked about sim racers being high-performance athletes, but I think the same could be said for anyone in the world of esports. What's one thing that you see in common across of the different esports, sim racing, Rocket League, and Trackmania are all very distinctive, right, in the skill set that you kind of need. What's one common thing that you see across all 3?
Well, I think it's this pressure that you have to deal with. I mean, it's a little bit different, of course, if you score or need to score goals on Rocket League. This is a different sort of thing, yeah, from the pure mechanism of what is success. Here it is just going fast and pass other cars, and the other thing it's scoring goals. But this pressure before the competition begins, this pressure when now I'm doing a qualifier, and then and this is the the hard bit to make it to the final at all. And in Rocket League, this is also everywhere. Then you always need to qualify first and then be on the big stage to achieve anything. And there's such a high chance to fail, and also a high probability. So this mental pressure is huge, and I think this is why it's so important that we also as a team look at this side of things and try to support all our players and drivers as best as we can there with, I don't know, mental coaches and so on, because this is not to underestimate. Even if it's, just a game, it's not always for millions of prize money, but it's this competition situation that you have. You are representing a team, and our team members really take this serious and want to do well for the team. So the pressure comes totally automatically, even without being pressurized by team management or whatever. So it's and then to be able to focus on your skills and to have the self-confidence in knowing that you have grinded for weeks and that you are well prepared, and then to execute it. This is in common, and it doesn't matter if it's just driving a car or flying a car or shooting or whatever.
Again, it's those common pressure elements that they all deal with and how they deal with it. It's impressive, given that some of them compete so regularly in the world of esports as well, never seemingly stopping for a moment. One more lap for Caique, and then we will officially have the semi-final in the book, and our 4 Zebras will officially be eliminated. We'll have a quick chat with Caique, catch up with him, talk about the incident for a couple of moments, and then get ready for next round before we close out the stream and move you all on, if you're watching on Twitch, to the official broadcast, or if you're watching on YouTube, again, over to the official broadcast, where Ewan O'Leary joins Lewis McLeod for all of the action today. So you can go and catch up with them and see how things shake up in the second semi-final, and then making the way over, of course, to the final race of the evening. These are long days at the end of the day, Florian. I mean, poor you being saddled up here in the commentary booth for me for 4 and a bit odd hours or something. It's tiring. It's a lot of activity being crammed into just one day here across the 2024 schedule.
Yeah, still I must say today I think they tightened the schedule even a bit further, so it's getting better. I think it's a spot on, at least the sequence of the quarterfinals. I think the breaks then are sometimes a bit big, but I totally know why and so on, so I understand this. And I prefer this one-day format definitely to the 2-day thing, and but it's as you say, it's a long day. But I mean, mate, you have commentated 10 hours in a row or whatever, so it's still a very short stint, right? Yeah, here we are, finished.
I think officially the longest I have ever commentated is about 10 hours, as across the line, Caique finishes things up. Disappointing. Yes, it was good effort in qualifying, both in his knockout race, knockout 2, and, semi-final, 3rd in the knockout, 6th in the semi-final, doing exactly what he needed to. Just not, unfortunately, getting the end result to warrant it. Bit of contact with Tuomas Tattila at the hairpin. The natural choke point in many ways. Not sure if race control put anything down for that incident, but a bit of a moot point. Oliveira finishing in front of Tattila anyway. And we'll catch up with Caique before we round things off here from the Hockenheim ring in what has been a rather interesting opening round of this Drivers' Championship. And again, as much as there are 3 online rounds, Florian, the majority of the competition itself during the Esports World Cup is centered on the Team Championship. So, that's where the full focus is, and that's what the drivers have been telling us as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think especially Caique now with this result, because, the first goal is to get into the second chance thing, because then if you finish top 3 in Riyadh, then you would still be part of the final. I think with this performance, or this performance level, Caique has, he's definitely in to make it even in the top 9 still, I would say. The other guys as well, in terms of raw speed, if we get it all together. Yeah? So I haven't given up on this, so I think there's absolutely no reason. The pace is there. I think today we would have seen Caique in the final, and then anything's possible. So this is more than unlucky today, but still we take positives from it, and we'll keep pushing.
Let's catch up with the man himself, Caique Oliveira. Caique, another great qualifying lap, 6th, and the margins were so tight. It was a very good run. Just one moment down at the hairpin unfortunately cost you big. Talk us through the emotions right now. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling a bit frustrated, a bit upset. I knew that I could hang and hold my own against Moritz and manage the race. I think I was in a decent... I survived the start. My start was really nice. I just got glued a little bit with, I don't know if it was Josh or Charlie, and lost a little bit of time on the straight, but I was able to hang on it, and was a nice fight with Moritz, very clean. Was able to keep my position, but somehow, I mean, neither of us could telegraph. I am just while we watched the replay, but I just got killed. Nothing that I was actually impressed because I had a full spin, and I was matching the pace of P6 and just a little bit behind the leaders. So even spinning, like, the pace was there. I just got frustrated because it, of course, is really unfair, especially from the guy that started last. But I don't know. It's racing. It is what it is. But again, from the little that I heard from Flo, it's taking the positives really, like. I know that I can fight for top 9, I can fight for wins, fight for podiums. It's just some days go well, some days go wrong. So. Yeah.
And like you say, that's motorsports, right? Some days they go well, some days not so well. Next week, Road Atlanta, week after that Spa, right? This Drivers' Championship's quite quick in terms of setting up things. So semi-final's not the worst at the end of the day. You've still had some solid points onto the board. How are you feeling going into next round? I guess for now, the main priority is top 21. You'd love to be top 9.
Yeah, that's the focus for me, 100% to be top 9. But I mean, we take every opportunity that appears, and driving the last chance race is worst case scenario for me. So that's how I see myself, I pressure myself to practice and compete like this. So yeah, it's Road Atlanta. Last time I wasn't really lucky. It was one of the few tracks that I didn't went through the semi-final. I struggled a bit, but after the season and stuff, I managed to get a little bit more up to pace and learn the track because it's quite different from everything. And yeah, I'm confident in Road Atlanta, and the racing is a little bit less chaotic than here because we don't have much space to do fancy stuff. Maybe on the last bus stop, but hopefully I'll be together with the front pack or maybe leading. We'll see. And just nothing changes from my preparation. Nothing changes. Just keep it working because it's showing some great signs. And yeah, that's it. And push the guys as well. Of course, wasn't the greatest result team-wise, but at the same time, lots of lessons to learn. And for Road Atlanta, for sure, everybody will be on their A game.
Things to look forward to. I think that is for sure. There were some positives. Caique, we'll see you in a week's time. Thanks for coming to chat with us, and enjoy the week ahead. And sounds like you've got some fun food to look forward to as well.
Yeah, I hope so. I heard picanha. So yeah, it's always a pleasure and an honor to be here. And yeah, I'm always really glad. Besides the results, I'm just really grateful for everything. So yeah, see you guys next weekend for sure. We'll be talking in the finals.
That's the hope. That's the hope when we're at Road Atlanta. Thanks, Caique, for that chat. And Florian, I guess, well, unfortunately, all our zebras are eliminated. It's time for us to wrap things up to, like I said, bring our viewers over to the main coverage, join Lewis and Ewan for all of that. But it's been an interesting round, and still got 2 more of these left to go before we focus on the heart of Riyadh and making our way to the Esports World Cup in the middle of August.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we already wrapped it up properly. I mean, no need to have any break of or loss of confidence. I mean, Caique would have been in the final probably, and then the things like this can happen. Yeah, the good thing is it's not 2 weeks now until we have a chance to rectify it. So just one in between an eNASCAR race, which we hopefully can compete for a win again. So and tomorrow, 24-hour Spa, and on Sunday. So it is a lot of racing going on, and I cannot wait. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in a week's time for our team behind the scenes at BS Competition. Plenty more to come this weekend, and moving forward, we'll see you next week for round 2 of this ESL R1 online portion of the Drivers' Championship. Florian Haasper alongside myself, Arjuna Kankipati. Signing off. Enjoy your weekend.